From the press box atop Dolphin Soccer Park on the campus of the College of Staten Island, CSI Sportsnet presents NCAA Division II men's soccer coverage live on the ECC network. Today's matchup features the Golden Falcons of Felician University taking on the College of Staten Island Dolphins. Good afternoon, everybody. This is Joe Foreman alongside John Carl Ziegler, bringing you all of the action during today's game. And JC, both of these teams coming in off of a pair of victories, barring a draw. Someone picks up their third straight win here this afternoon.
Something does have to give this afternoon. Indeed, we take a look at CSI's two-game winning streak. They've outscored opponents 3-0, whereas on the other side of the coin, Felician University 2-0 in their last two, 3-1 in their last four. In those four games, outscoring opponents 8-6.
And a big reason for those back-to-back Dolphin shutouts, the play of East Coast Conference Rookie of the Week, Bugari Sissoko. Sissoko has really stepped up his game as of late and is a big reason why the College of Staten Island finds themselves coming into this matchup with the Golden Falcons looking for their third straight win. And also taking a look back to 2019, that was the last time these two teams met. The Dolphins winning that match by a score of 2-1. It was the first victory for the College of Staten Island as an NCAA Division II program against a Division II opponent. A big day in the history of the College of Staten Island back in 2019. That game was played in their final match of the season on Wednesday, October 30th of that season. So a very significant win for CSI, hoping for a third straight here this afternoon. Same goes for the Golden Falcons. Should be a very entertaining game.
Most definitely should be. And we take a look at some of the things that I think that Felician needs to do in order to be successful in this afternoon's contest. We take a look at their splits. Their goals for at home versus on the road. 9 at home in the friendly confines, only 4 on the road. Now, they are 2-2 on the road, but they'd certainly like to get off to a fast start and put up a goal, possibly 2, and get off the schneid.
Well, the College of Staten Island typically has been a very good home team in seasons past. So far, 1-2 at Dolphin Soccer Park this season, but one of those two victories, a thrilling overtime victory in our second-to-last men's soccer broadcast against Bloomfield. That match was all the way back on September 22nd, so it's been about 3 weeks since the Dolphins last won a match here on their home turf. But for the College of Staten Island, since that match against Bloomfield, a record of 2-2, a pair of tough 1-0 defeats, but as you said, JC, they've outscored the opposition 3-0 over their last two matches. One of those matches played in conference against Duville. Another one played against another Central Atlantic Collegiate Conference member, of course, the CACC, the conference that the Golden Falcons belong to. That match was played against Holy Family by the College of Staten Island back on Wednesday, October 6th, and that got this two-game winning streak for CSI started. And taking a look at the CACC standings, Holy Family, even with the Golden Falcons right now, both teams 3-2 in conference play, and Bloomfield also a member of the CACC. They come into today's action. I'm not sure if they have a game or not, but entering the day, they had a record of 3-2. Another CACC opponent faced by the College of Staten Island, Nyack, record of 3-2. So the Dolphins have faced 4 3-2 teams in the CACC this season. The Golden Falcons will be the fourth here this afternoon.
And they're also on the rise as well, these Dolphins. You take a look at the last 5 games played, they've only surrendered 3 goals. In their previous 12 games, they gave up 12. So it's like a tale of 2 seasons. Haha, tale, no pun intended. Nonetheless, major improvements defensively, and we'll see if they can take that momentum into today's contest.
And taking a look down the stat sheet for the College of Staten Island, it is Shane Siegel, the lone Dolphin, with a pair of goals so far this season. He became the lone Dolphin to score a pair of goals during that two-game winning stretch for the College of Staten Island, that stretch that they bring into today's match. Also Daniel Angulo, Samuel Gonzaga, Michael Rofale, Larry Diggs, and Nicholas Kashenko, each with 1 goal this season. But JC, this Golden Falcons team with a lot of scoring depth as well.
Most definitely. You have 4 players with 2 or more goals. Leo Yang leading the way with 3. He has 20 shots, not on goal per se, but 20 shots total. No other teammate has more than 7, but we say Yang, the leading goal scorer, with 3. Yes, he hasn't scored in 7 games. All 3 of those goals came back on September the 8th in a hat trick against Shepherd.
Well, I mentioned the ECC Rookie of the Week, Bugari Sissoko. He will be tasked with slowing down this Golden Falcons attack. And for Sissoko on the season, he has appeared in 7 games, started 6 of them, allowing less than 1 goal per game with a save percentage near 83. He has been very impressive, picked up the victory in each of the Dolphins' last 2 matches. He has now started the last 6 for the College of Staten Island. So for Sissoko, he is riding some of his most stellar goalkeeping of the season into today's match against the Golden Falcons, and the Dolphins will certainly be leaning on him to slow down a red-hot Felician University team.
And when you're hot, you're hot. There's no two ways about it. The goaltender's hot. The team is hot. They're going for their 3rd in a row, and I think they'll get it.
And we will find out very shortly as the clock winds down toward 1 minute and 50 seconds on the clock. So before the starters are introduced and the national anthem is played here at Dolphin Soccer Park, we will introduce the starters, beginning first with the visiting Golden Falcons of Felician University. Over to you, JC.
And I'm very glad they gave us pronunciations because I'd probably botch about 3/4 of these. We're starting in the net, George Hernandez, number 1. Moving on to number 4, Alvaro Martin Castedo. Number 6, Danny Bezura. Number 9, Raul Abayan. Xavier Aiz Peru, number 10. Carlos Alonso, number 11. Kevin Chavez, number 16. Rajiv Singh, number 20. Paulo Santos, number 22. Christian Mayorga, number 26. And number 28, Real Nix.
And for the College of Staten Island, their starters in numerical order are as follows. The goalkeeper wearing 0 today is reigning East Coast Conference Rookie of the Week, Bugari Sissoko. The rest of the Dolphins starters as follows. Number 5, Daniel Angulo. Number 6, Aiden Sawchek. Number 7, Nilton Gonzalez. Number 8, Brian Kerelu. Number 9, Samuel Gonzaga. Number 10, Shane Siegel. Number 13, Brandon Figueroa. Number 17, Leandro Angulo. Number 23, Brian Navarro. And number 28, Nerman Balchabasic. Those are the starters for the College of Staten Island. And in just a few moments, announcements will begin. So JC and I will step aside for just a few minutes. And when we come back, Dolphins and Golden Falcons meet here on the ECC Network with both teams looking for their 3rd straight win. And welcome back inside of Dolphin Soccer Park on the campus of the College of Staten Island. In just a few moments, the College of Staten Island takes on Felician University, and both teams in search of their 3rd consecutive win. We've said it several times already, JC, but what should be a very exciting matchup coming up next here on the ECC Network. Both teams trying to win their 3rd straight. What are you looking for from the two sides in search of that win?
Well, the storyline writes itself. Both teams are hot as a pistol right now. I think the first goal is going to be crucial. And if CSI can keep up their extraordinary play on the defensive side of the ball.
And we have seen that defensive play show up on the stat sheet. We mentioned it already. A pair of shutouts for the College of Staten Island in each of their last 2 matches. Prior to that, they only allowed 1 goal in consecutive games. So only 2 goals allowed in the last 4, 3 in the last 5 for the College of Staten Island. And for the 5th time this season, they will face a CACC opponent in Felician University. The other 4, Nyack, Bloomfield, Holy Family, and Dominican.
If CSI is to record their 3rd consecutive win, yes, it'll be all them and their extraordinary play. But this win, our PA announcer might as well have willed them to that 3rd win. His exuberance, his enthusiasm, it's just, I don't need coffee. No one needs coffee.
Absolutely not. And on top of that, the music selections, the Imperial March for the visitor, and then the opening scroll theme from Star Wars, of course, for the home team. It doesn't get much better than that to get you hyped ahead of today's match. As you see right now, the Golden Falcons have taken the field on your screen when we are still waiting for the College of Staten Island. There they are, breaking huddle on the right side of the screen. And once again, my laptop and the window pane completely obstructing my view from seeing the Dolphins there.
We're going to be standing, shifting right, shifting left, kind of like doing the Macarena. Who knows what kind of dance moves we're going to bust out this afternoon.
You never know. On those corner kicks, sometimes you and I have to lean out the window to get a look at the action. But in just a few moments, the action gets underway here on the ECC Network. Dolphins will possess it first. Samuel Gonzaga standing on the midfield dot as we await the beginning of CSI Felician on CSI Sportsnet. And right now, Golden Falcons passing a soccer ball around on their side of midfield, and there's a conversation going on between the Felician coach and one of the officials. It looks like John Tardy right now is on his cell phone. So, JC, I think we might have a bit of a delay here as Coach Tardy looks to have finished his phone conversation. We'll see if that gets us started.
Well, I never know. Dinner plans after the game or so? No, I just kid. I kid. But it looks like the delay has run its course, and we should be underway shortly.
Well, the officials roll another soccer ball out onto the field, and the Dolphins don't seem to have much interest in that ball as now they'll start passing it around, and I'm not exactly sure what the delay is. Typically, after the conclusion of announcements and the playing of the national anthem, we're good to go, but that does not appear to be the case right now as Coach Tardy heads back out towards midfield, and it looks like he's going to have a conversation with Brandon Levine. It's a very short one. Might have just been a handshake as I think that gets us set to get started.
All I know is that the more soccer balls on the field, the worse it is for my car because it's right behind the net to my right. There's 3 months left in the lease. I'd like to bring it back in one piece.
And I'd like to see you do just that, JC, as I've wisely parked my car nice and far away, near the woods. Don't have to worry about a soccer ball back there. And if somehow one does find its way back there, you might just hear my headset fall down onto the floor, and I'm not sure I'll be back for the rest of the game.
We had a couple of close calls and warm-ups, and to take a line out of the Maxwell Smart school, it missed it by that much.
And hopefully they miss by a wide margin should a ball find its way into the parking lot. And we have the cause of our delay making his way into the midfield area. It is the third official we were waiting for, and we actually had this issue. I'm not sure if it was last game or 2 games ago, but we only had 2 officials on site. And I know in the past we have started matches with only a pair of officials. We did not have to last time, and it looks like we are waiting the third official to be ready, and we'll be underway here today.
Yeah, no fault of his own. As I like to say, the Staten Island Expressway, the West Shore Expressway, where dreams go to die. Several delays for me, you, I imagine. It's why I have no hair, probably.
Well, I might be well on my way, but for now it remains gray and fully attached to my head. But you never know how things go once you enter traffic on the expressway, especially on a Saturday afternoon or a Sunday afternoon, as I often make my way out to Long Island on the weekends. I've spent many hours in traffic so far, and I'm sure there are many more to come, especially this weekend as I head down to Pittsburgh.
If you had to pick the lesser of 2 evils, the Belt Parkway or the BQE?
You know, those are my 2 options for traveling out to Long Island. Typically, I will take the Belt because to me, it's the scenic route.
Oh, yes. It most definitely is. I prefer the Belt. If there are storms and flooding, you might want to choose the BQE, but most of the time it's a coin flip depending where on Long Island you're traveling to.
The biggest deterrent to taking the Belt usually is crossing the Verrazano Bridge. There's always that backup trying to get onto the Belt Parkway, and you see the traffic to your right for the BQE moving without a problem, and you're looking out your window to your right, sitting there not moving, and you often think to yourself, what was I thinking making this mistake? But the GPS usually doesn't agree with that sentiment.
No, and you know what? The more we talk about this, I dream about a lot of weird things, and traffic on the BQE or on the Belt will probably be in my future tonight or tomorrow.
Sounds more like a nightmare to me.
Oh, wake up with the cold sweats, actually have to shake it off. If the dreams are that vivid, and they are usually for me, no good.
And some good advice. Don't take a look down at your cell phone on either of those 2 highways. As you look up, you might find yourself buried in the bumper of the car in front of you.
Oh, a sea of red, which means a rough landing for you. It's going to be traffic for hours.
Well, I would never text and drive. I would never run a business and drive. I would know of no such thing.
None. You can't. It's dangerous.
Very much.
Although we do have a lot of people on this island that like to live dangerously. So
we sure do. We sure do. As it looks like we're finally set to get underway from the College of Staten Island with Felician standing over the ball in the midfield circle.
You know, the one thing that you hope for is, a delayed start doesn't result in a slow pace. I think both of these teams want to get the ball rolling immediately, going for a 3rd straight victory. Sometimes I think a delay like this can really, the juices, they get flowing, but kind of diminish, I think, in situations like these.
Well, each of the lines judges are checking on the nets. I was never aware that was part of the pregame ritual for the lines judges, but now I understand why I always catch them in between the pipes.
This might be the most meticulous crew of any crew in any sport that we've had here.
Well, they gave the net to our right a thorough checking. ahead of kickoff, and the College of Staten Island and Felician University underway from Dolphin Soccer Park.
Not bad. We killed 5 minutes for our audience, make them laugh. Hee hee ha ha.
Well, we started about 10 minutes later than scheduled, but it will be the Golden Falcons with the first attacking opportunity of the game. Chavez to throw.
As we mentioned earlier, 2-2 on the road, only 4 goals. A testament to their good play on the defensive end as well. Even though only 4 goals scored, they still have a .500 record away from Rutherford.
As Peru sends it upfield onto the head of Sawchek and down onto the foot of Brazura. Angulo takes it away for CSI and plays it up ahead to Shane Siegel. But that ball just a bit too long for Siegel, as George Hernandez rolls it up to Martin Castedo. This is Brazura. Brazura sends one toward the back line of CSI. Gonzalez giving chase, and he had Real Nix on his tail, forced to clear it over the near sideline.
Yeah, CSI looking good in the early going there, despite that little pass there. But nonetheless, I like what I've seen so far, and they're pushing the tempo early. They're very alive, they're alert, and they have their legs churning in the early going.
Dolphins will throw. Sawchek surveying and throws it off the foot of Angulo before sending it out towards midfield, where Gonzaga was the nearest Dolphin, but Golden Falcons did get ahead on it, and the ball travels over the touchline once again. It will be another throw for Sawchek and the Dolphins.
Also, one thing I want to mention about CSI, they've outshot their opponents in 3 of the last 4 games. The only game they didn't, they were tied in terms of shots on goal. So we talk about how well they performed defensively. On the offensive side, they're just as good.
Golden Falcons possess it in the attacking third and seem to be looking for a shot there, but instead Abayan sent it back out toward midfield. This is Alonso. Attempted pass there by Martin Castedo was knocked down by CSI, and the Dolphins possess it. This is Figueroa. Figueroa has his pass knocked back right towards him and to his backs.
Heard you mention Brazura and Alonso of this road team from Felician. They rank second in shots taken by this group with 7. As we mentioned, those are the 2 and 3 on their team. Leo Yang leads the way with a whopping 20, and he's not starting this afternoon.
Can't tell if Yang is on the bench, as they are wearing T-shirts over their kits, so you can't tell which players are available, but the Dolphins with a quick developing chance, and that's shut down quickly by Hernandez.
I mean, I don't think you can start off a season the way he did with that hat trick in the early going back on the 8th. No goals since, but it's not for a lack of effort because he has plenty of shots.
This is Singh moving towards midfield in the center of the pitch. Gives it up to Alonso. Now this is Martin Castedo, and the Dolphins dispossess him and head back in the other direction, but Martin Castedo immediately intercepts, as Angulo now intercepts a pass from the Golden Falcons. He sends it back to Bulja Basic, whose shot is blocked. That one comes down onto the foot of Abayan. And the Golden Falcons now looking to move across midfield, but cannot, as that was Keralou who won possession back for CSI, and Siegel surrenders it.
In hockey they call this forechecking, but CSI right now has them hemmed in their own end. They're attacking the ball. They look alert, and I look for big things this afternoon.
Dolphins all over the passing lanes right now, as Navarro sends one into the Felician bench. It will be a throw-in for the Golden Falcons as we approach 40 minutes and 30 seconds on the clock in the first half.
Yeah, they're still trying to get their bearings, Felician, right now. I think CSI right now is happy with the way the first 5 minutes have been played, despite the 5-minute delay at the start of the contest.
Angulo to Sawchek, and back to Leandro Angulo. He sends it out across midfield, where Martin Castedo is waiting. He moves toward his own goal, and sends it up to Alonso. And Figueroa took it away immediately as Siegel now gives chase against Martin Castedo. It's sent up into the air. Carolou charging forward, nearly came away with possession for CSI, but could not. And the ball is back with the back line of Felician. Here's Becerra. Becerra up to Nix. Check that. That's Mayorga with possession. Mayorga working against Figueroa. Was able to find Santos, but the ball winds up right back with Nix. And we have a foul call, our first foul of the afternoon, and it goes against the Golden Falcons.
I think the word of the day so far is relentless. The Dolphins are relentless in their attack with and without the ball.
Free kick taken by Leandro Angulo. As there's a nice turn by Carolou. He moves up the far sideline and finds Siegel, but Siegel got a bit of a head start, and he was offsides.
Well, they certainly have their legs today. Do the Dolphins, the male Dolphins. I usually like to call the girls the Lady Dolphins. I almost called them the Lady Dolphins. My apologies. But right now, it's all CSI in the early going of this contest.
Our viewers very familiar with that terminology, as the great Mike Babuski often used the same exact phrase when calling the women's soccer action.
I knew I must have heard it somewhere along the line.
You sure did, JC. For years, long before I arrived on the scene. Possession with Felician once again, but the Dolphins continuing to press. This is Singh working against Angulo. He sends it back to Espero. Espero sends it out toward midfield, and the Dolphins take possession right back. Here comes Siegel. Siegel for Navarro in the box, and he's met by a pair of Golden Falcons. It's on the foot of Daniel Angulo. He chips it up in the air for Siegel, and it takes a very friendly bounce for Felician as it rolls over the touchline, and we will have our first corner kick of the match.
You know, it's amazing how one game can turn the tide of a season. That game on the 29th of September against Bloomfield, down 1-0 at halftime. They got the victory. Since that game, they have playing excellent soccer. Despite losing 2 in a row afterwards, their defense has been stellar, and their play in the first 7 minutes has been nothing short of stellar.
Here comes Angulo's corner kick toward the far post. He has a man waiting, and it's off the crossbar. Bulja Basic with a great opportunity along the far post, and that was a tremendous corner kick by Daniel Angulo.
Using your head, almost potted the first goal of the game. The goalie's best friend coming into play, the crossbar.
Bulja Basic had a great look from in close, and that was a pinpoint corner kick by Daniel Angulo. But now the Golden Falcons moving forward on the attack, looking for their first shot, as that attempted cross was blocked and over the touchline, and we go from one corner to our left and now another on our right.
Yeah, at this juncture, it's only a matter of time. You can tell the confidence, you can see the confidence building this group over here at CSI, leaving no stone unturned as they almost strike in the early portion of the game.
Lining up to take the corner kick is Abayan, and his teammates getting aligned in the box. Here is the corner kick. Once again, toward the far post, and a Golden Falcon got ahead on it. The Dolphins cannot clear. Did it cross the goal line? No, it didn't. The Golden Falcons thought they had the game's first goal, as Sissoko could not scoop the ball up off the turf. The Dolphins failed to clear, but they kept it from crossing the goal line.
Well, that ball had eyes as it went straight across the goal line off of the post. Back-to-back corner kicks resulting in a crossbar and a post. You cannot get any closer than those two opportunities.
What a sequence in front of the Dolphins' goal as that corner kick was taken toward the far post. Getting a body on it was a Golden Falcon. It trickled in front. Sissoko couldn't scoop it up, and that ball just came to rest on the goal line. The Dolphins furiously trying to clear it out of the zone, and eventually it found its way out. But
as you watch it, it's rolling, and it took a Dolphin bounce for sure.
And Figueroa sends one towards the top of the box, and it awkwardly bounces off the foot of a Dolphin and into the arms of Hernandez. But what a start to this match.
Yeah, it looked like a feeling out process the first couple of minutes, but the fact that the Dolphins are pushing the tempo right here resulted in the first scoring chance, and lo and behold, Felician responded right away. We'll see if they can put up another scoring opportunity.
That one is sent a long way off the foot of Singh and over the far sideline for a Dolphins throw.
It's definitely a great response because in the early going, it looked as if the play was tilted and CSI was in firm control. But you know what? That's one thing I think we have to watch, the corner kicks that could make the difference in this game.
Sure looks that way based upon the first two attempts for each side. And both of those corner kicks developing into tremendous scoring chances as we have another foul call. That will be, I believe, the third foul of the game, all having gone against the Falcons, or the Golden Falcons, excuse me.
CSI's aggressiveness on the ball, forcing those fouls to take place. They're quick, they're fast, they're alert. And you can't ask for anything more early on.
As that one is sent towards goal, and Hernandez there once again. He's been busy early on.
Oh, if they're going to call it a shot on goal, scoreboard still reads 2. It seems now it just went up to 3 right now. So they're peppering the goaltender early and often.
As you hear John Tardy, at least you hear him up here in the booth, telling his team to press. And they have been all over the back line of the Golden Falcons, not making anything easy, getting the ball out of their defensive zone. And Siegel is on sides. He crosses one in front. Angulo waiting, and the header is saved by Hernandez.
You know, it might be time for a pep talk right now because lopsided might be putting it gently right now, but the play, CSI, in control, and they're making a real solid effort, and they're going to get that first goal. You can feel it coming.
And that all began with Felician believing that Siegel was offsides, and that allowed him that one extra step he needed to set up the cross, and a great cross onto the head of Angulo. Great save by Hernandez as well.
And let's not discount how the previous play ended. There was not a defender in sight. The goaltender was forced to kick the ball out of bounds to the left, which set up that scoring chance, that glorious scoring opportunity.
Golden Falcons on the attack right now as
handball.
The Dolphins swarm at midfield, and a whistle was blown. I believe it was a foul call as play resumed immediately. And that one is sent a long way toward the far sideline, knocked down by Santos. He's met by a pair of Dolphins, and Keralou comes away with it. Angulo to Navarro, and back to Sawchek. Now Felician exercising a bit of a press here as that one's cut off by Singh, and Figueroa sends it right up to Angulo off of the deflection. Angulo charging forward. He goes down, and no foul call awarded on that play.
Yeah, the crowd in front of us underneath our press box thought otherwise. Very close to a foul.
Angulo went down hard on the challenge, and right there it is Keralou with the interception. He's looking for Siegel. Siegel has a step. Siegel along the touchline, and that one is scooped up by Hernandez. I'm not sure that one was on goal as it looked to be wide of the frame, but Hernandez keeps it in play, and the Dolphins continue to press as Chavez sends it back to Singh.
I mean, with the exception of that one corner that nearly went in, this has pretty much been a mistake-free half by the Dolphins. And, you know, what can you say? They certainly do look like a team seeking their third consecutive victory.
There's a great tackle right there to win possession back for CSI by Figueroa, and that one sent in the air by Bolja Basic toward goal, and Hernandez is there. But the Dolphins have made it very difficult for the Golden Falcons to advance across midfield on the attack, and that's a big reason why the chances have belonged primarily to CSI early on.
Yeah, and it would not surprise me if Felician University, those Golden Falcons, make a change and bring in some substitutions soon.
Angulo with the cross, and it is right into the arms of Hernandez yet again.
Hernandez is certainly going to earn his keep this afternoon. If the scoreboard is any indication, 6 shots, if you multiply that by two, I mean, at this point, definitely on pace for over 20 shots on goal.
Very important for Hernandez, it appears anyway, that he be sure-handed in this match. If he's unable to handle one of those crosses in the air or in flight, it could easily turn into another scoring chance for CSI off a rebound. So Hernandez will need to be on point in catching those balls out of midair.
Yeah, and we spoke about the Dolphins' defensive prowess. You look at the last 4 games by Felician, 6 goals allowed in those 4 contests, 3-1 overall. So they're no stranger to playing good defense. Today is a different story, though.
It has been a tough start to the match for the Golden Falcons, but arguably they had the best chance to find the back of the net through the first 15 minutes, as this one is into the arms of Sissoko.
Yeah, caught like a true center fielder, like picking an apple out of a tree, right into his breadbasket.
That's exactly what both of these goalkeepers will need to do, as there's a potential costly turnover by the Dolphins, and a strong challenge by Bolja Basic allows CSI to take possession back, and nice recovery there after what could have been a very costly turnover.
Yeah, I've seen CSI turn the ball over twice, two bad turnovers, but they get back to the ball right away. They have enough bodies.
Here comes Angulo. He finds Bolja Basic, who has room. He looks to shoot. It is saved by Hernandez, and we will have another Dolphins corner.
CSI bodies all over the place, making up for errors. They are a cohesive unit. They have each other's backs. You turn the ball over, that's okay. I'm going to give it a little extra to step in the passing lane or to force a turnover and get the ball going in the other direction. Right now, they're very fundamentally sound, very few errors.
The corner along the near sideline was taken by Daniel Angulo. This corner along the far sideline to be taken by Brandon Figueroa. So the right-footed kicker Angulo taking them from the near sideline, the left-footed kicker Figueroa from the right. As that one sent toward the far post and fully extending to grab it out of the air was Hernandez.
Yeah, I was going to use my Andre the Giant reference right there, but he got up there pretty high and saved a very good scoring chance on the corner. All bets are off on corner kicks today. I wouldn't be surprised if this game is determined by a corner kick.
As there, the Golden Falcons nearly turn it over right in front of their own net. That was awfully close as Gonzaga continues to press along with the other Dolphins forwards, and Leandro Angulo slows down that attacking play for just a moment. Hernandez in goal stands 6'3". He is the tallest player on this Felician roster, and he needed every bit of that 6'3" frame right there.
Yeah, hence why he got to that ball with relative ease. Just a great pick out of the air.
Here comes Shane Siegel, sends it up towards Gonzaga, who wanted the foul call, does not get it, and in the midst of petitioning for that call, he missed the ball, traveling right past him. Fortunately, Bolja Basic was standing near him a little bit further up the pitch, but regardless, it travels over the far sideline, or I should say over the goal line for a goal kick.
You know, I think you're really seeing the evolution of this Dolphin team. Those 4 games in the early going where they were struggling and they gave up 12 goals, I really think the CSI team you've seen in the last 5 games, those are the real CSI Dolphins. No one can speak better to that than you because you call all of these games.
Well, I've definitely seen the progression of this team from game 1 through today, and it's very evident now through the first 18 minutes of this match. This team has demonstrated some of the strongest attacking play that we've seen from them all season long. But in speaking to head coach John Tardy in some of our post-game interviews, he's talked about how young this team is and how unfamiliar they could be with one another out there on the pitch, having not played in a live game since 2019. And these young players, and for many of them, it's their first collegiate action. So,
hey, it's all about getting acclimated to your surroundings, and with that comes some growing pains, but you really need a good coaching staff to help the players progress. And he has done so.
Of course, John Tardy, a fixture here at the College of Staten Island for many years. As that one travels over the near sideline, and we will have our first substitution of the match. It will be Michael Vogel checking in to replace Rajiv Singh.
He's their captain, so I'm looking to see what he can bring to the table. I'm sure he's a great leader. Let's see if he can turn the tide, and we have a tale of 2 halves. Hopefully, for them at least, they're hoping for a better second half.
Still plenty of time to go in half number 1 as we tick down just inside of 26 minutes to play. And the throw-in right along the perimeter of the box. This is Chavez. Chavez moving in against Sawchek, and that will be a goal kick, as that one did travel over the touchline.
Shots 7-1 on the scoreboard to my right. And that 7-1, yes, that is indicative of what we've seen thus far in this game here on Wednesday afternoon. It's a cloudy, overcast Wednesday afternoon, but CSI doesn't care. Rain, shine, snow, sleet, fog. they'd be hot regardless of whatever weather they're playing in.
Certainly playing their best soccer of the season through the last 5, as that one is off the foot of Navarro and onto the foot of Becerra. Back with Martin Castedo. Now with Abayan, and the Dolphins intercept that pass across the midfield stripe. This is now Bolja Basic for Sawchek. Sawchek up to Angulo. Angulo moving toward the center of the pitch. He has space. Angulo's shot is off of the crossbar once again. Angulo nearly tucked that one into the corner, but once again, CSI connecting with the crossbar.
At the conclusion of this half, the Felician University team should make their way to the post, the crossbar, and give it a kiss, because it saved their lives in the early going of this one.
What a start to this match, as the Dolphins have had a pair of glorious scoring chances, to use your word, JC. And on the other side, the Golden Falcons had an empty net staring them down, and they could not put it past the Dolphins' defense, as that ball came to rest right on the goal line following a Felician corner kick. And it is shocking right now, given the quality of chances, that we are still in a scoreless tie.
And I think that's what makes the first goal so important, because it'll either take the sails out of everyone, whoever that team might be, and the confidence level will be at a high. You know, you hit 2 posts and then you give up the first goal. You know, that's why you have to protect against that. And I think CSI, I think they're in good shape right now, and they're going to keep pressing for that first goal. And I think they will get it.
And the Dolphins making the most of their set pieces early on. The ball just seems to find a scoring position every time the Dolphins have either a free kick or a corner. Right now it is Felician looking to get an attacking play going, and a good job there to shield the attacker off of the ball by Nilton Gonzalez, and it will be a goal kick for Bagari Sissoko and the Dolphins following a pair of substitutions. Jonathan Diaz checks in alongside Julian DeLeo.
You know, with Leo Yang not playing at the moment, the Golden Falcons really need Becerra and Alonso to step up at this point. They have been the 2 leading shot getters when Yang is not on the field, and those 2 gentlemen provide Felician with the best opportunity to strike first and possibly win the game.
Angulo for Gonzaga, and he is offsides. I'm not sure he knows it.
Well, now it is.
The flag was up, and I'm not sure why the delay on the vissle, as everyone in the building knew it, but Gonzaga didn't seem to, as he continued to play on.
I mean, even our home crowd, who are vociferously showing their appreciation and applause for the home team, they even knew it was offside.
Play resumes with the Golden Falcons possessing the ball, and the Dolphins just swarming defensively on Becerra, and they come away with possession, but chasing the play down was Jonathan Diaz, fresh off the bench.
Well, they certainly know who the best players on the team are, and that definitely leads me to believe that they've been watching a lot of video, a lot of scouting reports, and here's a play in front of the net.
As once again, Hernandez on top of it, but Dolphins continue.
It's all about being cognizant of your opponent, what strengths they bring to the table. CSI, like I said, playing almost a mistake-free first half. They have done their homework, an A+ in the homework department, that's for sure.
Dolphins continue to exert tremendous pressure defensively as Angulo has space once again. A great ball to Bolja Basic, and he tucks it inside of the far post. What an attacking play by the College of Staten Island immediately following a Golden Falcons goal kick.
Isn't it amazing how your play gets rewarded? You play hard, you hit a post, you hit another post. Well, the soccer gods smiled. Oh, and look at that. The New York Ranger goal horn has made its way here to the College of Staten Island. 1-0 Dolphins, not the Rangers. It's the Dolphins up 1-0.
If I'm not mistaken, tonight is opening night for the Rangers.
They're in Washington, correct?
Yes.
And a Nicholas Backstrom-less Washington Capitals. I think Ovechkin was a game-time decision as well.
For the College of Staten Island, that goal scored by number 28, Nerman Bolja Basic. It is his first of the season, the assist to Daniel Angulo. And that was a picture-perfect through ball from Angulo to Bolja Basic to set up the first goal of this match. And for Angulo, That assist on the season, I believe, was his second. It sure was. So that makes 1 goal and a pair of assists for the Dolphins. Captain again for Bulja Basic. That goal, his first of the year.
Threading the needle with surgical precision. What an assist. You could see it coming a mile away as he just laid it right there for the goal. And it looks like another opportunity.
Siegel is onside. His ball in front is deflected by the goalkeeper, Hernandez. He got the gloves on it, as it looked like Siegel was attempting to cross. But the Dolphins have really turned up the pressure on the attack these last couple of minutes. And you said it, JC. CSI hit the post twice, nearly contacted the post on that shot by Bulja Basic. However, it was a perfect shot inside of that far post, and just moments later, Daniel Angulo set up in the corner for another corner kick.
Halloween rapidly approaching. Here we have another dreaded corner.
Off of the corner, Figueroa looks to cross into the center of the box. It's headed back to the top of the box by Bulja Basic, chipped in the air by Sawchek, and Siegel gave chase but couldn't get there before Hernandez.
Kind of get down on your dauber after you hit 1 or 2 posts. You say to yourself, well, what's it going to take to break the ice? They didn't give up. They kept pressing. They got the first goal, and they are out shooting the road club 10-1.
What a half for the College of Staten Island so far, as we are now inside of 20 minutes to play in half number 1. Shots on goal, 10-1 in favor of the College of Staten Island to this point. But I'll say again, it may have been the Golden Falcons who had the best chance of this half. Unfortunately, it has been quantity over quality, and for the College of Staten Island, they've had some great chances, but have had the quantity to back it up.
I think if you're the Golden Falcons, you have to say to yourself, yes, we're being thoroughly outplayed, but we're only down by a goal. We can see what one little bounce of the ball can do. It didn't go in our favor on the corner kick, but if we get one bounce go our way, it doesn't matter if the shots are 15-2, 11-1. If they tie the game, that's all that matters.
You're absolutely right about that, JC. And just to make a quick correction, our scoreboard here does read 10 shots on goal. It's 10 shots for the Golden, or I should say for the College of Staten Island. 7 of those on goal so far. So 6 saves for Hernandez to this point officially, as we'll get that corrected at halftime.
Yeah, still nothing to sneeze at. 6 out of 7. He's seen his share of shots. CSI looks like they're going to blow past 10 by the conclusion of this game.
As it will be the Golden Falcons to possess it off of the throw, but once again, tremendous pressure facing this Felician team as they're forced to retreat out toward midfield. Looked like we may have had a handball there by Alonso. It is not called, and Sawchek is all over him. He gives it up to Vogel. Navarro looks to challenge, and Vogel sends it back to Espero.
Anytime a Golden Falcon has possession of the ball, it just seems like there's 1, if not 2, 3 Dolphins all over him. It's part of the reason why they've been so successful lately on the defensive side.
Long ball sent up the pitch by Carolou, and giving chase is Gonzaga. The first to it is Martin Castedo. He will throw in after that one rolled over the far sideline. Still
a ton of time remaining in the first half as the Dolphins not only have seized momentum but trying to take a stranglehold 2-0 lead, and it appears they may be ticketed for that opportunity if they keep pressing.
Martin Castedo gave way to DeLeo on the throw-in, and following the throw, the two teams battling in the midfield, and a hard challenge there draws a whistle.
And that's exactly what I'm talking about, doing your homework. Alonso with the ball just over the center line right there. He had a square. He had a box surrounding him. 4 Dolphins swarming. That right there is doing your homework. He's one of their biggest offensive stars.
Free kick upcoming for the Golden Falcons. They are in desperate need of another scoring chance here to try and shift the momentum of this match. It has been all Dolphins as that free kick is taken into the center of the box and off of the foot of Espero. It is saved by Sissoko.
Looks like a double deflection from here. It deflected at least once. And, sometimes for the goaltender, and I say this a lot in hockey too, you don't want to go too long without having any work because, if you go too long, one wrong move, you're out of position, you're not warmed up, boom, the ball's in the back of the net. That was a great save right there by our goalkeeper.
Well, if that was the intent of Felician on that free kick, that was executed perfectly. As you said it, JC, it was deflected initially near the top of the box. It wound up right on the foot of Aispuru, and his shot was on target, forcing Sissoko to make a save from point-blank range.
And typically a team that is struggling mightily, that is the type of break that they look for. And that goes for any sport, soccer, baseball, football, hockey. One little bounce where the sports gods smile upon you can change the tide as we have some substitutions.
3 Dolphin substitutions coming in. It will be Patrick Maikut, Jamali Peterson, and Larry Diggs checking in for the College of Staten Island. And for Diggs, he registered his first goal of the season in the Dolphins' last match, a 2-0 victory against Holy Family.
Right now, when you're firing on all cylinders, like they say, when it rains, it pours. It's a shame they don't have a saying for the opposite of that when things are going well.
My mistake. It was in the last match, but it was the 1-0 victory at Deauville where Diggs picked up his first of the season. So Dolphins' lone goal scorer in their last match takes the pitch for the first time, joined by Maikut and Peterson. Gonzalez sends it back to his keeper, Sissoko, and it's sent a long way up in the air by Sissoko. Maikut was there waiting for it, and DeLeo able to send it to his back. Martin Castillo, and he sends it out across midfield. There's a good ball. That sets up Bizura. He's being challenged by Angulo, looking for somewhere to go with it, and he sends it back up toward the far sideline. That one sent into the box. A man is there, and Sissoko positioned well as he had Alonso bearing down on him.
And let's not kid ourselves. This Golden Falcon team has won 3 of the last 4. It's only a matter of time before they start to try to shift the momentum and try to push the tempo and try to do their very best to forge an offensive attack.
Golden Falcons now have it in the midfield, but the Dolphins continue to pressure.
And the only way that's going to happen is if they must cut down on the turnovers at center, because they've been turning the ball over with frequency, and CSI has an opportunity just like this.
And that ball was just too long for Peterson. They had the right idea as the bench urging CSI to send that ball up to Peterson, who has great speed at the head of the Dolphins' attack. Here come the Golden Falcons. That's Mayorga. This is Abayan, and chasing that ball through is Mayorga down toward the corner. He keeps it in and then plays it back to Santos. That one's headed away. Make that DeLeo, who crossed that ball in for Felician. As Maikut challenges Bizura. This is Abayan. Now Mayorga. Back to Alonso. And up to Abayan. That one sent toward goal in the air, and Sissoko is there waiting for it.
You know, we've seen him make a lot of those, well, not saves, but we've seen him make a lot of those plays. He really hasn't been tested. The squibber in front with the corner kick, he really wasn't involved in that play. He hasn't seen a lot of work, but he's seen a lot of those folly floaters that he could just pick from a tree.
Getting his pregame fly balls in is Sissoko, and a lot of routine snags out of the air for him, making like an outfielder in baseball.
On the other side of the coin, it's a drastic difference.
As we do hope to have a baseball broadcast later in the month. More on that as the date draws nearer, but there is some fall ball taking place here at the College of Staten Island. We do hope to bring at least one doubleheader to you here on Sportsnet and the ECC Network. We'll see if that comes to fruition later in the month.
You know, why not? I mean, we've been...
Number 12,
Ben Batson will check in for Felician.
We've been having consistent 70-degree weather here in the Northeast, and at nights we've been in the low 60s, high 50s. I say, why not? Have a game under the lights. I'm more in favor of those versus the afternoon contests, but the weather has cooperated here in the early portion of the fall.
I'll tell you, JC, come the spring, most of our games are played under daylight. Very rare that we have games that trickle into the evening hours, but when we do, it typically means a lot of free baseball in that case.
Well, I'll definitely bring the suntan lotion, although I believe we'll be indoors. But if the windows are open, that sun can still be strong. And with my fair skin, whew.
Yeah, between the two of us, not much in the way of pigmentation here. We are very pale up here in the booth.
Like Sheamus from WWE.
Absolutely right. As that one's headed out of danger and sending it back the other way was Diaz. Golden Falcons come away with it as Martin Castado was content to bring it back out toward midfield, and now the backer's working with it. This is DeLeo.
You know, something tells me we're going to hear a lot of yelling up here. I mean, I don't know the coaching staff's personalities, if they're high-strung or they're very calm and cool under pressure, but something tells me that it's going to get loud at halftime.
We will see, as unfortunately we won't have our microphones on at halftime. Sal Caruso chimes in, wants to commend your work on color commentary. JC, the first time Sal has listened to your call alongside mine is Sal looking to take credit for that first goal that was scored as soon as he turned on the broadcast. Here comes Peterson.
He's a good guy.
As Peterson looks to move into the box, and on the challenge, that ball is sent off of Peterson. Good work defensively there by Diaz.
And our thoughts and our well wishes are with him as he's recovering from surgery.
Hope to have Sal back in time for basketball season. I'm sure we will, as we expect him to be alongside Joe at the stats desk. As that one's through the legs of Angulo, but onto the foot of Figueroa. Here comes Figueroa. Looking for somewhere to go with it. He finds Peterson. Peterson for Bolja Basic. He is the Dolphins' goal scorer. Angulo up to Keralou. This is Maikut with an attempted pass on the back heel, and coming away with it for at least a moment was Keralou, and he went down in the corner.
Well, hold your breath if we have another one of these.
Not sure if it's a free kick or a corner kick. Looks like a corner, and Figueroa is heading over to take it.
I think if you're a Golden Falcon, you know these can be very, very dangerous. We've seen 3 of these already nearly result in goals. Maybe the third one's a charm for the Dolphins.
Well, this is a free kick. I thought so, as it looked like that foul occurred before the ball traveled over the touchline. Look how close it was.
Yeah. Perhaps we're going to see more of an approach, maybe not so aggressive. Maybe they'll, kick it back to the top of the box, try to create a play instead of kicking it straight on goal.
The left-footed Figueroa to attempt the free kick. He sends it to the top of the box for Angulo, who crosses. Bicycle kick in front is kept out by the defense of Felician. What a play there by Michael Vogel along the goal line. He saves the bicycle kick attempt off of the cross by Angulo.
I've only seen a couple of games this season, but I don't care what else happens next week, next month, last month. That was the play of the year, in my opinion, and that's why he's the captain of this club.
What a play by Vogel as he keeps it out. Hernandez, with the diving attempt, could not get a glove on it, but Vogel was there to keep it out. And the Dolphins' lead stays at 1 goal for now.
Even if that did go in the net, in all fairness to the road club, if that is a goal, it was ticketed for the back of the net. If that goes in, you can pretty much say get on the bus and go home. Obviously, you're not going to. You play till the final whistle goes. But that would have been a big, big-time blow to their chances of coming back in this one.
I'm not sure I'd seen more than one bicycle kick find the back of the net prior to this year, and I think this year for me is year 4 or 5 of calling CSI Dolphins soccer. We've already had one bicycle kick go in this season. That was in the women's match to open up the year, as we do have an injury in the midfield, and play will continue.
Yeah, he was sandwiched at the center line. Play still continuing, as you said.
And the whistle blows. Clock will be stopped at 6:47. So they will tend to the injured player in the midfield. I believe that's Chavez, but I'm trying to get a look at the number. I believe that is Chavez who's down.
Yeah, he was sandwiched. I mean, this was straight out of an Eric Lindros or a Darius Kasparaitis open ice hit. If we're going to venture into the world of the NHL, but he was sandwiched, and he's getting up and walking away under his own power, thank goodness.
Well, it was 26 Mayorga, not 16 Chavez, so Christian Mayorga is to his feet and walking off under his own power, so that's good to see. Is while we have a break in the action, I am getting a second look at the attempt on the bicycle kick, and I was trying to see who it was that got a foot on it in front. It developed so quickly it was tough to tell, as play does resume on the throw-in, so JC and I will try and get a look as we call the action, but the ball sent back to Gonzalez. We'll have a few moments here as Sissoko will send it.
It's the type of goal you really rarely see, but you often see in practice, of course. When you're getting towards the end and the guys are just having a little bit of fun as the practice session winds down. If you do see it in a game, it's a very special play, and it'll be on the highlight reels for months, if not years to come.
I believe it was Maikut who got a foot on it with the attempted bicycle kick, and what a job there to keep it out by Vogel. He kept this game 1-0 for the time being, and we'll see if the Golden Falcons will get an equalizer ahead of the half. They have been starved for opportunities.
If the Golden Falcons can score the next goal, CSI, despite their phenomenal start, has their work cut out for them, because sometimes all it takes is one bounce, as I reiterated earlier.
That one off the head of Mayorga, who's back out there after leaving the pitch with an apparent injury just a few moments ago. And Vogel now working against Peterson, and Peterson wins possession for CSI. Looking to work his way into some open space and find Sawchek. Sawchek for Angulo. Now Angulo up to Karalu. Karalu crossing midfield, gives it back to Angulo. Angulo sends it ahead to Maikut, as that one's over the far sideline. And Dolphins now have three players with very similar hairstyles working along that far sideline. Karalu, Maikut, and Figueroa.
Hairstyles. I remember those days.
Headsets do not mesh well with any extravagant hairstyles, so I've kept it simple whenever I'm on the call of these games. As I put much more work into my hair than I'd like to admit.
Well, back in the day, I had the flow going. It wasn't exceptionally long, but it could pass for hockey flow.
As that one's crossed in front, it rolls over Peterson, but waiting for it is Sawchek. Sawchek with the cross and headed away again by the Golden Falcons. That was Aispuru who was able to clear.
Once again, they can't get over cleanly over the half circle there. Half circle. Midfield, there you go.
The midfield circle.
Yes.
As we have a substitution, it is Ernesto Terran checking in. And he replaces Carlos Alonso with just over 4 minutes to go in the first half.
And just, all jokes aside, they have not, and by they I mean the Golden Falcons, have been able to get across midfield cleanly at all this game. They've been met by 2, 3, 4, 5 Dolphins breaking up the play and forcing a turnover going the other way.
Felician has just under 4 minutes to score an equalizer in this half as a foul is called against Staten Island once again. Another Golden Falcons free kick upcoming. And the foul for CSI will even up the foul tally at 6 per side. Angulo wins possession for the Dolphins following the tackle by Figueroa. He finds Maikut up along the far sideline. Maikut looking to cross, working his way toward the touchline. That cross was initially blocked, and Maikut goes down in the box, does not get the foul call. Not much contact there, but he did go down.
No, and you know what? I'm not a big believer in moral victories, but hypothetically speaking, if I were, I would say to myself, if I'm a Golden Falcon, get out of this half down by 1. You've already given up a goal, 2 posts. You almost scored on a corner. Our goaltender has played great, and we had a game-changing save by a position player. Get out of it 1-0, go to the half, reset, and it's a brand-new game.
Well, halftime adjustments are often key, and many times before I've seen games take a very unexpected turn following the intermission. So certainly stay with us through the conclusion of this one. As the last time these two teams met, it was a 2-1 Dolphins victory. CSI with the first goal here this afternoon as the clock is stopped, and Figueroa was down for just a moment. He springs right back up to his feet. And getting a talking to from the official is Christian Mayorga, who went down himself not too long ago.
both teams, everyone, tough as nails. You've seen plays where players have been sandwiched, knocked down, kicked accidentally, but they get right back up. Just goes to show you these kids are tenacious. They're hungry. They want to prove themselves.
In many cases, you see players get a lot tougher after they've already drawn the whistle, and once they know they have received the foul call, they typically recover a bit quicker on occasion. Just sometimes. As that one sent toward the box and waiting for it is Hernandez, and he grabs it out of the air. Long punt out across midfield. Sent up in the air by Keralou. Figueroa was the nearest Dolphin, but with it now are the Golden Falcons. This is Mayorga.
See if they can generate anything in the final minute 45. It would definitely be deflating for CSI. They're finally, the Golden Falcons got the ball over center without turning it over, and just when I say that, the turnover.
Off of the turnover, the Dolphins look to counter. This is Peterson. Peterson working toward the middle of the pitch. He finds Figueroa. Figueroa working against Anthony Mayorga. Both Anthony and Christian Mayorga in the game right now. It's Christian wearing 26, Anthony wearing 27, as this is Hernandez. Two eyes Peru. Up to Tehran, and Peterson took it away quickly. Here's Sawcheck for Bolja Basic, and right back to Sawcheck.
And we're approaching 5 consecutive halves where CSI has not surrendered a goal.
Last minute of play in half number 1 as the Dolphins look for one final attacking opportunity here. That's Leandro Angulo sending it up towards Keralou, and it's headed away by the Golden Falcons. It was DeLeo who sent it over the touchline, and Keralou is taking his time before attempting this throw-in.
It's one of the best halves, I think you would agree with, that CSI has presented to us in this soccer season as we are in game number 10.
Cross by Bolja Basic, headed up in the air by Peru, but the Dolphins still working in and around the penalty area. Here's Figueroa for Sawcheck. Sawcheck with 20 seconds on the clock gives it back up to Figueroa. Dolphins running out of time as Sawcheck gives it to Bolja Basic. Bolja Basic right back to Sawcheck. Nearing 10 seconds on the clock. It's headed away by the Golden Falcons, and that should do it in half number 1. Our score at the break will be 1-0 in favor of the College of Staten Island.
Just to correct myself, this is game number 11, possibly the best first half this team has had this season. They looked great. They got the goal. They're peppering the opposition with shots. They nearly had a second goal. That might be the play of the year, the position player, helping out his goaltender. They needed that in the worst way. Now they have to focus on scoring.
Well, we've seen a pair of thrilling victories this year, one by the men's team in double overtime, one by the women's team in double overtime. And that first half, as you said, JC, may have been the best half the Dolphins have played in quite some time. It was certainly one of the most entertaining halves I have called in recent memory as well.
Took the words right out of my mouth. Entertaining. I can't think of anything better to say. I'm not even going to look for a word. Let's just call it what it was. An entertaining first half. It had a little bit of everything. Even the corner kicks. Virtually all of the corner kicks almost spelled disaster for the opposition.
The set pieces were very entertaining, and heading into the break, the corner kick tally in this one 4-1 in favor of the College of Staten Island. Fouls 7-5, 7 going against the Golden Falcons, 5 against the College of Staten Island. It has been those set pieces that have provided much of the excitement through the first 45 minutes. And when JC and I return here on the ECC Network, it will be for the final 45 minutes, potentially more, in this match between the College of Staten Island and Felician University. This is exclusive NCAA Division II men's soccer coverage on the ECC Network. Be sure to join us for half number 2 after this break. And we are back here on the ECC Network, about 1 minute and 30 seconds away from the start of half number 2 between the College of Staten Island and Felician University. After half number 1, our score 1-0 in favor of the College of Staten Island. And JC, both sides had some great scoring chances in the first half. Most of those belonged to the Dolphins. Fortunately for the Golden Falcons, CSI only able to find the back of the net one time.
Only finding the back of the net once. There were 2 posts, and forget about the goal, forget about the post, the play of the game, the save by the position player. Have we established who that player was that kept the potential second goal off the board for CSI?
It was Michael Vogel wearing number 2 for the Golden Falcons who saved a goal and kept this game 1-0. At that point. And really for the Golden Falcons, only one great scoring chance in the first half, 2 shots on goal. I'm not sure if they were credited a shot on goal during that first frenzy that resulted in the ball coming to rest on the goal line, but their best chance later in the half anyway, where I was certain there was a shot credited, came off of a free kick. We had a deflection at the top of the box, then a shot fired on goal, not much behind the shot, and that was really it for Felician University in half number 1.
Such an entertaining first half that, and I'll say it now, laughter is the best medicine. We actually had to look at a few of the plays in the first half where we watched the replays back in slow motion. Getting to hear ourselves in slow motion might be the funniest thing I've listened to or heard this entire year.
I wish we could share it, but we're a professional broadcast here, so we'll keep that to ourselves in the booth during halftime. But if you're ever interested in a good laugh, go listen to any of these broadcasts at half speed, and I guarantee you it will do the trick. Is we're about to get started here in half number 2, 45 minutes up on the clock. College of Staten Island and Felician University with the Dolphins in search of their 3rd straight win. Golden Falcons also in search of their 3rd straight victory, and some very quick stats ahead of the start of the second half. Shot totals for the College of Staten Island, 11, 3 for Felician University, 4 corners for CSI, 1 for Felician. Fouls 7-5. Golden Falcons with 7, Staten Island with 5. Bagari Sissoko with 3 first-half saves, and in goal for the Golden Falcons, George Hernandez with 7 first-half saves.
You look at Angulo, 4 shots on goal. Shane Siegel, who leads the team in goals with 2 shots on goal. You need some more offense. You hope to get more offense from them as they try to secure this victory and put some more breathing room between them and the opposition.
Dolphins will attack left to right in the second half. Golden Falcons right to left as the Dolphins possess it in the midfield. This is Bulja Basic back to Gonzalez and over to Sawchek along the far sideline. Angulo has that ball deflected by Jonathan Diaz. Dolphins throw along the far sideline.
I'm looking up and down the score sheet right here, and I'm looking for Leo Yang, and he's not even listed under the substitutes, and that's a major loss for this club if he indeed is not here with the team. Despite not scoring a goal in the last 7, he does lead the team with 3 and with 20 shots taken.
Well, the official stat sheet printouts we get at the half only list the substitutes who have entered the game, so he may be available as Peterson, a Dolphins substitution late in that first half, looked to work his way into the attacking third but was denied, and that one is cleared out toward midfield. Gonzalez got ahead on it. Bulja Basic sends it forward, but the first to it is Anthony Mayorga.
We talked about CSI doing their homework in the first half. I gave them an A+. They've been cognizant of everything going on around them. When Leo Yang comes in, if he does come in, believe me, the Dolphins will be aware of it.
We will see if we get a look at Yang, the leading goal scorer for Felician University, and the final 43-30 of this match. Golden Falcons to throw along the far sideline. That one sent into the middle of the pitch, and first to get a foot on it was Christian Mayorga. I'm not sure that ball was intended for him, but it winds up with Martin Castedo, and now sent forward by Alonso, who went down, and he did indeed draw the whistle. So it will be a foul against CSI and a free kick for the Golden Falcons. Might be the chance they need, JC.
Hey, a free kick, you'll take anything you can get at this point. After a somewhat disastrous first half, one bounce could do the trick. Hey, and we're approaching Halloween, so trick or treat.
Free kick to be taken by Abayan, and it's a good one toward the far post, and Sissoko gets there. Didn't handle it cleanly, but dives on top of it and prevents any further attacking opportunities for Felician.
Certainly helps to be 6'3", and he has played huge today.
If I'm not mistaken, Sissoko, the second tallest player on the Staten Island roster, as it will be a throw-in deep in their own zone for the Golden Falcons. And that throw is taken out toward midfield. 2 players waiting for it, Bulja Basic and Abayan, as Dolphins send it back to their keeper, Sissoko. Angulo out to midfield. Closest Dolphin is Branco, and for Branco, he checks in for the first time to open the second half.
Very curious to see how long this shutout streak is going to last for. Back-to-back shutouts. a half away from a third consecutive shutout. They haven't allowed a goal in well over the last 5 halves, going back to a previous, I think it was a 1-0 or 2-0 defeat a couple of weeks back.
So for the College of Staten Island, I just mentioned Stephen Branco checking in for the first time to open up the second half. Dennis Cotticelli also checking in for the first time. As another free kick for the Golden Falcons taken into the box and headed over the frame and out of play. Goal kick upcoming for CSI.
The Golden Falcons, the way they've come out here in the second half, they've looked very, very consistent versus what they looked like in the first half. They appear to have their legs under them. They're forcing the play. They've already had a couple of free kicks. I think this is the brand of soccer that they want to play, and they have to keep pushing to try and get that goal because we know CSI is not going to rest on their laurels.
Certainly not, as right now the two teams exchanging headers in the midfield, and down goes Jamali Peterson. He draws the whistle. The foul is called, and CSI was hoping to get moving quickly, but they will not be able to do so, as that is Michael Rofale, who registered that game-winning goal against Bloomfield. That was lined up over the ball and took that free kick.
You know, you never want to make excuses for any player, any team. But, you know, do you lend any credence to that 5-minute or so delay kind of taking the juices out of this road club from Felician University?
It's definitely a possibility, and I think the reason for the delay, as we mentioned ahead of the start of the match, was because the official arrived a bit late. But also Felician arrived here at the College of Staten Island a bit later than normal. We usually see teams arrive here at Dolphin Soccer Park about 1 hour to 1 hour and 15 minutes before the start of the match, and I think the Golden Falcons arrived just about maybe 50 minutes to an hour ahead, so not a big difference, but I think if anything, that delay may have given them some of the extra time they needed to get warm, as they were here a bit later. But for the College of Staten Island, it doesn't seem to have phased them any, as they had a tremendous first half.
One of the only times you'll ever hear anyone, let alone myself, possibly thank the Staten Island Expressway or the West Shore for lending some help by making the road team a little late.
It's yet another free kick for Felician, already their third in just under 6 minutes. Many Golden Falcons lined up along the top of the box. 8 of their 11 bodies lined up there, as that one's headed toward the top of the box. Branco, the nearest Dolphin, and he will clear over the near sideline.
Positionally sound. I think that's the best compliment I can give the Dolphins on the day thus far.
Dolphins working to try and get it out of their own zone, and a good job there along the near sideline by Karalu to do just that. And he sets up Peterson. He has a one-on-one with Hernandez. Peterson moving in, and getting there was Martin Castedo to disrupt that shot, as I'm not sure Peterson knew that he had a marker trailing.
Hard work. Hard work, hard work. That pass, well, actually, the ball was about to go out of bounds. It was chased down, sprung him down low, took the ball by himself, a breakaway, nearly made it a 2-0 game. That play is all about hard work, not giving up on the ball, sending it the length of the field, and it almost resulted in a second goal.
Well, you have to love the effort by Karalu to keep that one in play. That one looked destined to travel over the touchline along the near boundary and out of play, but Karalu got there, was able to stop the ball from rolling over the touchline, and then sent a great ball up the pitch to Peterson, who had plenty of space. And I think Jamali thought he had even more space than he did, because he really began to slow up as he approached the net, and that allowed Alvaro Martin Castedo to chase him down from behind and disrupt his shot attempt, as that one was sent wildly high and wide by Peterson.
As much as we give credit to the passer, let's give credit to the defense preventing a golden scoring opportunity.
There's a cross into the box. It lands on the foot of Ben Batson. He was looking for Diaz on that pass. It's intercepted by the Dolphins. Angulo for Peterson yet again. He has a step. Moving in with another breakaway. It's by Hernandez and wide.
Well, he's going to do a few pull-ups in disgust as he just missed a potential first and second goal for himself and a chance to put the game away. I think we've learned here in the last couple of minutes that he's the fastest player on the team.
He sure looks to be the fastest Dolphin, as we do not often see one breakaway in a match, let alone two, in just under a minute, as Peterson with two top-flight scoring chances. That one goes wide, and you could certainly see he was upset with himself after that miss.
You know, that brings me back to my days with the New Jersey Devils, watching John Madden kill penalties and get breakaways and score all those shorthanded goals. You know, when you're off to the races, definitely a few breakaways, and he definitely took advantage of them back in his day.
Well, if you're the College of Staten Island, you can't forget you still have a one-goal lead, but they will certainly lament those missed chances if Felician is able to get up on the scoreboard and even up the score.
You want to talk about two posts, a miraculous save, not by the goaltender, and two near misses on a breakaway. I call that a gift.
If the Dolphins converted on half of those scoring chances, they could easily be up 3-0 right now. But that has not been the case, and the Dolphins are still looking to put some more distance between themselves and the Golden Falcons.
And even if those events did not happen, obviously you can't change what's already happened, but let's just say we can, and those events did not occur. I still think they'd probably be up 2 or 3-0 with the way they have played throughout the course of the afternoon.
The way they have played, this Dolphins team certainly deserving of a lead. You could make the case for a bigger lead, but credit to the Golden Falcons is the goal does not go up on the scoreboard if it hits the crossbar. It does not go up if it is bodied out by a defender. It has to find the back of the net, and that goes without saying, but despite the Dolphins' clear advantage in time of possession, high-quality scoring chances, and several other statistics that we could name, they only lead by 1, and the Golden Falcons are one CSI miscue or one big play away from getting even on the scoreboard.
It's like a baseball game. You out-hit the other team 10-2 or 10-3 and lose 1-0. As a matter of fact, something similar happened in the Dodger-Giant playoff game a few days ago. Or in hockey, you outshoot the opposition, say 30-15, but lose 1-0. It's the same thing. Sometimes it's not the quantity, it's the quality of the chances.
And typically the side that is talking about would-haves, could-haves, and should-haves is the team that winds up on the losing side of the scoreboard.
Yes.
So if you're the College of Staten Island, you don't want to take the foot off the gas, and a 2-goal lead here would seem like a very difficult hill to climb for the Golden Falcons, but they've had some free kick opportunities in this half, and if they can make something of one of those set pieces like we saw in the first half, they are even. Here comes Peterson again. He's going to shoot it from a bit further out, and it is saved by Hernandez, and he will try to avoid conceding the corner. He could not. A good effort there to try and keep that one in, but unable to do so. And with Angulo in the area, that might have been for the best.
How many times have you seen 3 breakaways in 11 minutes?
I'm not sure I've ever seen 3 breakaways in one match that I've called here on Sportsnet, JC.
It is amazing. And I tell you, sometimes, you get 3 breakaways. Sometimes you want to get greedy. You want to get a 4th. And I'm telling you right now, if he does get another glorious opportunity, I have a feeling he's going to put the ball in the back of the net. 4th time's a charm in his case.
As Angulo's corner kick is headed straight up into the air. Sawchek looking to keep it in the attacking third for his team, but a foul was called, and I think it was against Sawchek as he went over the back to get ahead on that. And we have a whistle, and perhaps the foul was on Rofail as he's getting a talking to from the official. Clock was stopped, and I think we might have an injury as well on the Felician side of things, and that is George Hernandez who takes a seat.
Yeah, looks like a possible rotator cuff, labrum, but it doesn't look good as he's gingerly moving his left arm in circles and does not look very good there. Perhaps we can see a replay at some point to see where the injury was sustained, but they definitely don't want to lose their goalkeeper. He's been keeping them in this game as he's seen 9 shots come his way thus far.
Well, JC, he is their only goalkeeper, so they cannot afford to lose him right now. And
I'm curious to see which one of these Golden Eagles would be the one to replace him. I think that's the last thing on their mind right now.
If I had to guess, and I'm not sure if any of these Golden Falcons have had any goalkeeping experience, perhaps the high school level or maybe even some at the collegiate level, and are just not listed on the roster as a goalkeeper. But if none of them have any of that experience and all things are equal, you would think you have to go with the player with the greatest combination of height and quickness in goal and hope for the best. And you don't want to take that player away from the attack, so it would have to likely be someone who hasn't seen the pitch yet. there are a few options. I won't try and speculate who it might be, but that's what I would think they'd go with.
You know, if you want to keep the ball out of your end, just play dump and chase.
Well, that won't do it, as Angulo came charging into the box and was met by a challenge, and Angulo may have been whistled for a foul there. He is in disbelief, as we will have a free kick for the Golden Eagles.
And I say that half jokingly, too, because if your goaltender, and this is the serious part about it, if your goaltender's hurt, just keep kicking it down the other way, chase after it. CSI did a great job. I know I say forechecking. I know there's a term for it. But kick the ball down, chase it, and keep your goaltender. Look, he's waving his arm again. He's in considerable pain. Keep the ball on the other end as much as humanly possible.
Well, it's not often you play the Golden Eagles and the Golden Falcons in the same season, as these are the Felician University Golden Falcons.
I called them Eagles?
I called them the Eagles,
okay.
And I think you may have called them the Eagles a couple of minutes ago.
You know what? In all likelihood, I did, because I was a St. Peter's Eagle back in the day when I went to high school.
As the two teams battling for possession along the near sideline here, that's Carolou, who navigates through 3 Golden Falcons and comes away with it.
We got 2 balls on the field.
Yeah. Can't have that, as the ball runner, a bit of a miscue there, and now he has to chase the soccer ball back into the bleachers. That's when you know you're having a bad day on the job, as that one is headed across midfield by Bolja Basic, and it was onto the foot of Ice Peru.
We've seen a little bit of everything, my friend.
We did have a soccer ball come into the booth through the window.
Yeah, and it actually landed right in front of my feet. It was the first time I ever stepped foot in this press box about 4 weeks ago.
First touch of the season for JC on his first day on the job, and we're about 50 feet above field level and 50 feet back, so not easy to get your first touch from up here, but that is quite the accomplishment on your part.
I'm glad I was paying attention. That's all I'll say about that.
I'm glad it found your foot, not one of the laptop screens, because I'm not sure we can afford any more equipment. They can hardly afford the two of us on commentary.
You know, I got to tell you, with Christmas around the corner, perhaps we take advantage of the Black Friday deals, or perhaps some of the deals prior to Thanksgiving.
As Branco receives that ball in the box and is shouldered off of it by Martin Castero, and Hernandez is there to slide on top of it. As the Golden Falcons look to move forward quickly, that was Ice Peru who was first to get a foot on it, and the Dolphins send that one into orbit behind the Golden Falcons' goal. We'll have a couple of substitutions ahead of this goal kick. It'll be Shane Siegel for Staten Island and Julian DeLeo for Felician.
I tell you,
CSI Dolphins, number 10, Shane Siegel.
it's one thing I've learned: you never talk over our maestro, our respected, esteemed colleague, our guy. He's a good kid. He has the voice for PA, and I will never speak over his announcements.
I have tried, and I have to admit, it's much harder for me anyway to collect my thoughts and try and speak over John, our PA announcer, than it is to hear me speaking on the broadcast, because when you're listening on the broadcast, you can't hear him. You can hear you and I in the microphones. You cannot hear the public address announcer, at least not clearly. Here in the booth, it sounds like he is speaking right into our ears as his announcements echo through the press box, and sometimes you feel like you have to speak a bit louder to talk over him.
He is a very special young man, quite a skill set.
As that one is headed over the touchline out of play, and it took John about 3 weeks to be regarded as esteemed here in the press box. Took me at least 3 or 4 years before I held that distinction myself.
Hey, listen, all the power to him. He's a youngster, 21. I think all you guys are still in your 20s. I'm the elder statesman. That I know.
Joe's not in his 20s, and I'm on the tail end of mine.
All right, so I have company, so that's a good thing.
As it will be a corner kick for CSI. 28:30 on the clock.
George Hernandez, I've been watching very gingerly. There he is. He's flexing his shoulder. He's moving it in circles. Again, you don't want to speculate, but in all likelihood, probably a rotator cuff, possibly a labrum injury.
And Bolja Basic, the nearest Dolphin on that corner kick attempt, and he nearly had an opportunity for a second header from in close. Bolja Basic, the lone goal scorer in this one. Dolphins still lead 1-0, 17 minutes into half number 2.
I tell you, he's an Iron Man. I've been watching him like a hawk the last 5 minutes, George Hernandez. And, despite the injury, he's playing through it. We saw him play a ball earlier, and he rolled it out. He actually used his left hand instead of his right. And I was like, don't use your left. But what can you say? They're all competitors out there.
Free kick for the Golden Falcons, just beyond midfield. They work it across the midfield stripe, and now up the far sideline as that one was too long for Batson, and he thought that he and his teammates had an attacking play working there, and you saw him hang his head in frustration as that ball traveled over the touchline.
If you're a Golden Falcon, you could take solace in the fact that it's not as one-sided as it was in the first half. They're playing a lot better. Yes, there's room for improvement. There's a lot to clean up, but definitely a positive is that it is not as lopsided as it was in the first stanza.
They need scoring chances, and they have just over 27 minutes to find the back of the net. And as I said at the end of the first half, really only one or two chances in half number one for the Golden Falcons, and it's been much the same here in the second half. And I'm not sure they yet have a shot in the second half. 3 free kicks, but none of those resulting in a shot attempt.
3 free kicks, still glued to 2 on the scoreboard.
I should say 3 free kicks in the attacking half of the field, as we've seen a couple beyond the midfield stripe, but typically it's those free kicks taken in the attacking third that develop into scoring chances as Carolou continues his strong work along the near sideline and was unable to take possession, but he does keep possession with the Dolphins as Brendan McGuire will check in to replace Steven Branco.
The relentless play along the sidelines continue. The Dolphins do not give up on plays. We saw a play earlier result in a breakaway, and we saw another play just a few moments ago.
Carolou for Bolja Basic. Over to Gonzalez and up to Angulo. That one sent toward the middle of the pitch for Rofale. Rofale coming away with it. His shot is saved by Hernandez. As attempting to get his body in front of that ball to Rofale was Michael Vogel, the hero from the first half, and he misplayed it and allowed Rofale to get a great shot opportunity.
Well, if there's any question about is the goaltender okay? Is his shoulder fine? Yeah, I think Mr. Hernandez's shoulder is fine based on that save.
Well, Hernandez had that shoulder put to the test right there as Rofale with a strong shot from the top of the box. And here comes Mayorga. He's met by a pair of Dolphins, forced to retreat a few steps, and he will send it over the touchline. Throw in taken immediately by DeLeo. He was looking for Nix on the throw. It's knocked away by the Dolphins. Another throw in for the Golden Falcons.
Yeah, we'll see if Felician can get some momentum, get things going in the positive direction. They finally get a shot on goal. As we mentioned just a few moments ago, they went a long period of time without one.
Golden Falcons take possession off a couple of headers by the Dolphins. That one sent toward the box for Nix. It's cleared up in the air out toward midfield, and waiting for it was Vogel. Winds up with the back line of the Dolphins once again. This one cleared away even further across midfield.
I misspoke there. That was CSI's opportunity. Falcons still seeking their first opportunity in quite a while.
It will be a free kick, as I thought we might have a throw, but the foul occurring first as Anthony Mayorga tosses it over to Aizpuru, and now he gives it up to Abayan, and off the near sideline walks DeLeo. So 3 different Golden Falcons line up over that ball before DeLeo finally settles to take the free kick.
See if they can diagram a scoring chance.
That one sent toward the middle of the box, headed up in the air by Gonzalez and back into the box by the Golden Falcons. Cleared away by Angulo. McGuire waiting for it. He has Rofale. Rofale working against a marker, and DeLeo sends it over the near sideline.
Definitely a more aggressive Felician University club. It's like night and day. What we saw in the first half, we are not seeing in the second half, and they're all the better for it.
As that was a hard foul committed by Mayorga, I thought, as the clock is stopped, and it is Martin Castedo who will have a talking to by the official. So it didn't look like Mayorga was the one who committed the foul, as he did shoulder Siegel over the near sideline. That was quite the collision along the boundary.
Yeah, no card there, but a nice stern warning, if you will.
So a free kick for the Dolphins. And that one is sent across the pitch to Gonzalez at the midfield stripe. And he sends one up toward Rofale. And Martin Castedo was there to body it away, but Cotticelli putting the pressure on, and Abayan sent it over the near sideline.
If you're a soccer fan, if you're a College of Staten Island fan, and this is your only game you're coming to in attendance, actually this is one of the most attended games that I can remember. We've got a lot of folks on our side, especially to my right. You've been given quite a treat. You've seen one goal by the home team. You've seen them outscore the opposition by a wide margin, 2 posts, nearly a second goal, and 3 breakaways.
Easily the most entertaining game, at least the most entertaining 2 halves of regulation we've covered so far this season. We've seen a little bit of everything in this match. And in our first match of the year, we saw a bicycle kick in the waning seconds of the first half, and that was nearly topped here in this match this afternoon.
You know, I have to say, there's an old saying about a tie is like kissing your sister. I really think that if this game were to end in a tie, if Felician were able to get the equalizer at some point between now and the next 22 minutes, you look at all the golden opportunities squandered by CSI. Yes, we'll play an overtime session, of course. That goes without saying. But definitely you're playing for the win in this case.
Well, JC, you're going to have to clarify because I've never once heard that saying, as that one's headed in the middle of the box and it rolls away. Shot on goal finds the back of the net by Ben Batson. And the Golden Falcons have scored the equalizer with 21:44 remaining in the second half. And off of a set piece, they finally are able to convert on an attacking opportunity. It is Batson who puts one by Sissoko and tucks it inside of the far post. He took that shot from the right side of the box. It tucks inside of the left post.
Sometimes it only takes one bounce. And in any sport, we're doing soccer today, so I'll keep it to soccer. One bounce of the ball is all it takes. And just like that, we are tied. And you can't help but feel all of the hard work, not that it goes down the drain, but you can't help but feel dejected if you're one of these young men on the CSI Dolphins. All the glorious scoring opportunities we alluded to earlier, the 3 breakaways. And now, despite all of those accolades, all of those great things, you look up at the scoreboard and it's 1-1.
So what is that we were saying about ties?
So there is an old saying, a tie is like kissing your sister.
I have never heard that before. As in the moment, I was a bit disturbed and almost missed the goal. That one sent toward the far sideline, and the Dolphins send it back to Gonzalez in their own zone. But very quickly, the ball finds Angulo in the attacking third.
Well, they must have heard me down there at the Felician sidelines, and they really rallied for the tying goal.
I'm not sure who would hear that and rally for the tying goal, JC, as that one is sent over the touchline. And it looks like we're going to have another corner kick. So the Dolphins surrender the equalizer, immediately work it down the field, and earn a corner. Off of the corner, it's Figueroa who attempts a cross. It is blocked and once again sent over the touchline for another Dolphins corner.
You know, we talked earlier about quality over quantity, and can't be any truer because shots on goal read 10-3, and yet we're even 1-1 on the scoreboard. And just like that, one kick away from each of these teams taking the lead.
Angulo's corner toward the top of the goalkeeping box, and Hernandez able to snag it out of the air. He had Gonzalez right on top of him as that one came down into his hands, and there's a potential costly turnover by the Golden Falcons. Second time I've said that this afternoon.
We want to talk about a game-changing play. Alvaro Martin, what a play to stop a potential 2-on-1 down low off the turnover right in front of the goalkeeper.
2 Dolphins against 1 Golden Falcon right there as Vogel sends it away toward midfield. The 2 teams now fighting for possession in the midfield.
Taking a look at George Hernandez, he's not flexing that shoulder. He appears to be okay. I think he just needed a few reps to get going, get the blood flowing. You know, it might hurt him a little bit later. You know, probably adrenaline has taken over at this point, but he looks to be okay for the time being.
I'm sure it hurts a lot less now that his team has found the back of the net for the first time this afternoon. Equalizer for the Golden Falcons knots up the score at 1. And yet another free kick for Felician University upcoming. And Dolphins at times have been a bit reckless with the fouls in this half, as that one is sent toward the middle of the box, headed toward goal. And fortunately for the Dolphins, there were several gray and white jerseys surrounding Abayon. And now McGuire on the counter immediately following the clearance. He's waiting for some help, sends one across the goal mouth, and it trickles toward the far sideline. The only Dolphin in the area was Figueroa. Batson was the first to it, and he charges up the far sideline. His bench likes what they see, and he draws the foul as I think Angulo is about to be shown a yellow card.
Yeah, the clock stops, and there's the yellow card.
Now, Angulo was chastised by the official earlier. He did not like the call, as the clock was indeed stopped. He is shown the yellow card, and I think we're going to have a substitution as well for Felician. Waiting at midfield is Paulo Santos.
The last 10 minutes have not been kind to the Dolphins, but I think if you're the coaching staff down on the sidelines, you have to give the guys a little pep talk. You got to say, hey, listen, things aren't going our way right now. The game is tied. Yes, we've squandered many scoring opportunities, but don't get dejected and keep your heads up. We're still in this game.
There's a long free kick sent into the box by the Golden Falcons, cleared by CSI, and the whistle will blow. As I'm not sure it was the referee on the field who made that call. Handball was the call. I'm not sure if it was the head official who made the call. It sounded like the whistle came from over here on the near sideline.
Perhaps it did. You never know. Who has a whistle?
As that one is sent toward goal, and Siegel, the closest Dolphin, but Hernandez is there. And we had an emphatic disagreement during our last match between two officials down in the corner. They couldn't agree which team should be awarded possession. I think it was the lines judge trying to overrule, or perhaps the head official trying to overrule the lines judge. And either way, there was an emphatic disagreement, and we were in about a minute delay as they went back and forth.
I wonder if they knew if they were arguing with each other, because typically it's a coach and an official.
It was two officials, the head referee and the lines judge, as the Dolphins are awarded a free kick now.
You know, perhaps in their younger days, they had quite the rivalry playing against each other if they went to different colleges or high schools.
Perhaps, as it was a spirited discussion that was going on over that call in our last broadcast. And that's headed up in the air toward midfield by Felician. Bolja Basic trying to take it away from Mayorga, could not. But the Dolphins do come away with it for a moment. It's up in the air right now. Bolja Basic gets a foot on it first. His shot toward goal is high.
Yeah, into the protective netting behind the net. Their best scoring chance, the CSI Dolphins' best scoring chance since Felician tied the game.
And I'm not sure I've seen this many cars parked behind that netting this year. Certainly rivals the home opener. That's the only other match that was close.
Yeah, it appears my blue friend down there is going to be stuck. I don't think anyone's behind me, though.
As we do have a foul call upcoming. Was the clock stopped? I don't believe so, as Peru is shown the yellow card, and that's our second yellow in the last 2 or 3 minutes.
Yeah, it's getting very chippy down there, and you know what? The frustration is showing on the field for the CSI Dolphins. And if you're the Golden Falcons, you've accomplished everything you've wanted to accomplish this afternoon.
And look at that set piece as Codicelli charges in off of the free kick. What a ball from Bolja Basic. He hit Codicelli in stride, moving into the middle of the box.
Yeah.
But a good defensive play by Felician to swarm and make sure he couldn't get a shot through.
If you're Felician, you got to look at it like this. You had a terrible first half, but let's look at it. Let's look at the big picture. The clock winks down to 16 minutes to play. It's a road game. We're tied. We have difficulty scoring goals on the road, and yet we just got the equalizer about 10 minutes ago. Use that as momentum and use that to try and take the lead.
You could make the case that this second half has favored the Golden Falcons. They've had a lot of great scoring chances, including the goal. Certainly have had the better of the free kicks, at least up until that last attempt. Is for CSI, that was easily their best opportunity of the second half. You know, or I should say, since the Peterson breakaways, which feel like ages ago.
You know, great minds think alike. But I will say this, that last breakaway, that was the last opportunity they had.
As they may have one more right here. Karalu crosses in front, and Hernandez snags it out of the air again, but it was easy for me to forget, JC. Those breakaways were in the second half.
Yes.
They seem like ages ago at this point. An equalizer coming since, and the Dolphins now looking to take the lead back.
The trifecta of breakaways occurred in the first 11 minutes of this half. Since then, it's been all Golden Falcons. They have the equalizing goal, and they have CSI on the ropes, something that they were not able to say through the entire first half of the contest.
This is either broadcast number 6 or number 7 for us on the season. I think it is 6, potentially 7. Either way, we're at about a 50% overtime rate on the season so far, as that one intended for Keralou was knocked away by the Golden Falcons. But we've seen 2 overtime victories already this season, as I mentioned earlier, and if this one remains tied through the next 14 minutes and 15 seconds, we will be headed to overtime yet again.
Deadlocked at 1 indeed, and I do have a feeling that we are going to need an extra session, as Felician, it looks like they're going to introduce 2 new players to the game.
It is Felician University free kick here. DeLeo lined up over the ball again, and they will wait for this free kick to be taken to make their substitutions. So I'm not sure substitutes can enter on a free kick anyway. Here comes DeLeo's free kick. Sent toward goal. It's in the air. And Sissoko with the sure hands able to pull it down. And on the way down, the ball made contact with Michael Vogel's head.
He's been all over the place. Johnny on the spot, that Michael Vogel. He stopped a goal in the first half and nearly got a piece of it just a few seconds ago on that free kick.
Dolphins throw in. Sees the ball end up with Leandro Angulo. Angulo up the pitch towards McGuire and Codicelli. That ball right on target. Here comes Codicelli, and he goes down and then is hit in the head. I'm not sure if that was a knee that made contact with his head or maybe an elbow from DeLeo. Codicelli wanted the foul call, doesn't get it. Angulo's shot is saved. Here comes McGuire, and Hernandez rolls on top of the ball and covers it up.
Yeah, the official emphatically signaling no foul on either play. Nonetheless, a great scoring opportunity for the Dolphins, and we remain deadlocked at 1 with about 12 and a half to play.
Well, I thought that Felician might have gotten away with a jersey tug there down around the perimeter of the box, but in a situation like that, that's a tough call to get unless it's a very blatant foul, and I'm not certain that one fell in that category. As off the heel kick, a great pass from Keralou to Siegel, up to McGuire, back to Keralou, and cleared, as that was awfully close to hitting a vehicle.
Kicked into oncoming traffic. Fortunately, there were no vehicles approaching, although one is leaving right now. Perhaps he or she is going to get out of the car to fetch the ball. Nonetheless, that's why we have 2 or 3.
Yeah, I'm not sure I've met many people here on campus who would stop their car in the middle of the street, get out, and retrieve the soccer ball. I'm not sure that's something I'd expect. There's a lot of nice people here, but when you get behind the wheel, sometimes it can be a bit of a different story. As we have a foul called along the near sideline.
On Staten Island, never.
Yeah, never on Staten Island. Just wait until you're trying to exit the front of campus, and turn signals go out the window each and every time. I can assure you of that.
It's a free-for-all.
No doubt. As it's a free kick once again for the Golden Falcons deep in their own territory. They'll look to send this one a long way, and they do just that off the foot of Martin Castedo. Ball now in the midfield with CSI. That's Daniel Angulo working against Mayorga. Trying to split the back line, looking for Siegel, and once again it's Vogel. Able to break it up, and now Christian Mayorga has it near sideline, moving across midfield and into the attacking third. He sends it in toward the middle of the pitch. That's Batson, the goal scorer, who's moving in along the perimeter of the box. Left-footed cross onto the foot of a Golden Falcon. That was Chavez, and he sends it just wide.
This play began when Mr. Vogel, the captain of this Felician University team, stopped an amazing scoring opportunity. There was no one between the goaltender and the player on the Dolphins who had that little break. By blocking that pass and sending the play going the other way, it nearly resulted in a goal. Now, how often can you say that the possible player of the game did not record a goal, did not record an assist, but broke up a scoring opportunity which led to a golden opportunity the other way and saved the goal from going in a game?
Not often you can say that, but on top of Vogel's performance, what an impact Ben Batson has had on this game since checking in. We saw him score the goal before, and with a great ball right there, nearly set up another goal as Chavez came storming in. And we do have a whistle along the far sideline. A Dolphin is down, and I think Angulo might have been a bit shaken up behind the play earlier in that sequence as the clock is stopped at 9:46. But the impact that Batson and Vogel have had, if I'm not mistaken, both off of the bench, it has been remarkable.
A tale of two halves. That's all you can say right now. The Dolphins are on their heels looking for something, just a little bit of something to light that fire under them, that fire that they possessed in the first half. It looked like it was going to be a rout early, but let me tell you, since about maybe, I want to say the 15-minute mark of the second half, since it began, after the third and final breakaway, it's been all Felician University.
Well, I say it all the time whenever we're covering a competitive soccer match. If you can stay within one goal, anything can happen, and we saw just that for the Golden Falcons. Play really dominated by CSI in the first half, but here in the second half, outside of a couple of miscues, and not to be lost on top of those miscues, potentially, two great balls that led to the breakaways for Peterson, but aside from that, most of the opportunities have belonged to Felician University, and that's reflected up on the scoreboard as they have the Havs' long goal.
And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the fact that that was the first goal surrendered in over 5 halves by the College of Staten Island. Entering this game, they had posted 2 consecutive shutouts as they were trying to get their third.
The last goal the Dolphins allowed came against District of Columbia in the 61st minute of that match. And since then, Bugari Sissoko has been perfect in goal for the College of Staten Island. That was broken up, of course, here in the second half, but still quite the stretch. It was right about at the 60th minute here today that the goal was put up on the scoreboard by Felician.
Yeah, not a big fan of the 1 hour mark, I guess you can say.
It was the 68th minute, or I should say 69th to be precise. 68-18, exactly where the goal was scored for the Golden Falcons, as the Dolphins look to take possession back beyond midfield, and down goes Santos, and he draws yet another whistle against the College of Staten Island.
It seemed like every time the Dolphins converged on a member of the opposition in the first half, they could do no wrong. It made them give up the ball, turn it over. Here in the second half, we're seeing a little bit more sloppy play. They're converging on the opposition, and they're being fouled, and that's not good because, you know, you do that enough times, you're not going to want to converge because it's almost assumed that you're going to get a foul.
And you have to wonder how much of that is due to the frustration of perhaps missing out on a couple of great scoring chances on the breakaways, perhaps the frustration that comes with allowing the equalizer. It could be a variety of things. The Dolphins look to break this 1-1 tie right here.
It's only human nature.
Angulo for Keralou. Long shot is high and into the netting beyond goal. So with 7:45 on the clock, we'll have a pair of substitutions waiting at midfield to check in are Christopher Juarez and Larry Diggs. So Juarez in for Felician, Diggs in for Staten Island as the clock ticks down inside of 7:30 to play.
CSI with 5 fouls in the first half, but they weren't noticeable because, you know, they were controlling the tempo. They were the better team by a drastic margin. And now you look, CSI now with 18 fouls. And if my mathematics is correct, 5 in the first half, 13 here in the second half.
And would you believe me if I told you that exceeding their total fouls are their total shots? They have 19, looking for 20 here as that challenge dispossesses Navarro. Diggs with a strong tackle. He takes possession back. His shot is blocked. There's number 20. Angulo looking for number 21, and that is wide. I think it was partially blocked, and then Hernandez was able to get a glove on it, but a foul may have been called outside of the box. And nope, the referee was pointing to the corner. So it's corner kick, and a spirited discussion here between the head official and Ernesto Turan.
Well, these corner kicks have been quite eventful since the beginning of this game. And
off of the corner, once again, the Dolphins send it to Figueroa, who attempted the cross. And taking the brunt of that cross was Chavez. He took it right to the chest. As here's Vogel again. Vogel clears, Batson giving chase, and Codicelli is there. That could have been trouble.
Oh, Codicelli was the last line of defense on that one.
He sure was, but now an odd man rush developing. Here come the Golden Falcons, and the flag goes up for offsides. I'm not sure about that one, JC.
That was close, I think, and you're hearing it down from below. I don't think there's more to say on my end. I think the coach just said a mouthful right there.
Definitely sounded like there was some displeasure coming from the Felician University bench, but taking a look toward that sideline right now, it appears to be short-lived, and that has to be the case here. You can't let yourself get bogged down in frustration this late in a tie, as that one's sent up in the air right around the midfield stripe. It is Codicelli fighting for it against Santos. He sends it back to Angulo, who sends it up to Navarro. Knocking it down with the body was Aispuru, and Vogel now has it.
At this point, it's short memories and keeping your composure.
Batson and Gonzalez collide, and Batson is called for the foul. He didn't like it. Brandon Levine didn't like it. The Dolphins love it right now as they have another free kick upcoming, and Angulo will send it a short way to Gonzalez.
You know, the irony is that we're talking about all the fouls committed by CSI, and now all of a sudden, Felician commits one, an important one, because now CSI can reset and try to send us home happy without an overtime session.
They have 4 minutes and 30 seconds to send their supporters home happy, and more have accumulated throughout this match. Here comes Navarro. Navarro's shot is blocked, and that is right into the arms of Hernandez. An easy one there for George Hernandez.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of pop flies that have been fielded cleanly by each goaltender.
Falcons looking to take it out of their own zone. Cannot. Angulo has it. He was hoping Figueroa would continue to make a run. He did not, and that allows the Golden Falcons a chance to counter on the challenge. That ball is sent over the touchline by Figueroa. It was a throw-in for Felician, taken immediately, and that long ball is bodied down by Angulo. There was Siegel, who has that pass intercepted. Crowd wanted a handball. They don't get it, as Tehran sends it back to Chavez. This is now Vogel. Vogel, challenged by Diggs, is able to find Abayon, and Abayon sends it back to Juarez. He sent it the long way up the pitch, and Sawchek was there.
A very vocal and vociferous crowd at that. And you know what? We haven't heard the crowd get into it in recent games.
And once again, a very dangerous pass in front of their own net by the Golden Falcons. We've seen them commit a pair of very bad turnovers in front of their own goal. That was nearly a third.
Turnovers have been the key in this game, and CSI has been taking advantage of them all day. You know, it's only fitting that a turnover would lead to the game-winning goal for either side, but as far as this game goes, it would favor CSI because they have, well, let's put it this way. Felician has committed the majority of the turnovers in this contest as I untie my tongue.
Another corner kick for Staten Island upcoming. Clock winds down to 2 minutes and 30 seconds remaining. Figueroa takes the corner kick right into the center of the goalkeeping box and headed up in the air and away by the Golden Falcons. Batson giving chase. Codicelli yanks the jersey, and he is going to receive a card for that one. And for a moment, I thought the official might have missed it. Late whistle.
Yeah, this one was easy to spot, and that's our second, if not third card of the half that we've seen. I know we've seen two for certain.
I think that's three.
Three.
I think we had Angulo right there. It was Codicelli, and we had a card against the Golden Falcons as well. I'll have to pull that up in just a moment.
Well, in any event, in terms of fouls, we had 12 in the first half for both teams. Yeah, a very chippy and very different second half, to say the least.
For sure, as that one sent into the box, headed up in the air and wide of goal by Aispuru. And it was Aispuru who got that third yellow card. I just had that name up on my screen, and right there he has the header attempt that is high and wide.
Clock bleeds down to 1:55, separating us from extra time. Free soccer, but I think everyone got in for free, didn't they?
They sure did, and if you arrived early enough, you got a free Dolphin scarf as well. I was surprised when I walked into Dolphin Soccer Park to be greeted with a scarf.
I enjoy scarves. I have about 3 or 4.
Hopefully we'll never need it for a broadcast here in the press box as Michael Rofel checks in and Nilton Gonzalez checks out, but the last time I called a match with a scarf was back in October of 2018 alongside former assistant SID Tom Krichkowski. He and I were bundled up for that one. It was a cold day here at Dolphin Soccer Park, formerly known as the CSI Soccer Complex. And the Dolphins hope to send their fans home happy this afternoon as that one's off the gloves of the keeper. Hernandez chipped up in the air and over the netting beyond goal as we will have another Dolphins corner kick. The clock winds down inside of 1 minute to play.
1 minute to play as that ball was kicked into the parking lot. I think all the cars survived.
They did, and it wasn't by much, as that one is the exact type of ball I told you need to be worried about in the pregame. That one sent toward the middle of the box, off the fist of Hernandez, and shooting it wide was Keralou, but it was blocked as the Dolphins had a great chance to go ahead there.
Best scoring chance in the waning seconds of this second half.
Siegel to take the corner. That one sent toward the far post. Hernandez reaches up, and he got fingertips on it, but is able to track it down as Angulo nearly making contact with that punt. Codicelli heads it back to Batson. He has 12 seconds to work with and goes down. He will not get the foul call. It will be a throw-in for the Golden Falcons. That will not be taken. And, JC, we are headed to overtime once again.
We might as well. I mean, we've seen everything else in the last 90 minutes. We've seen 3 posts. We've seen 3 breakaways. We've seen corner kicks result in goals and near scoring opportunities. We've seen CSI outshoot the opposition 12-3, and yet the game remains deadlocked at 1. I think it is only fitting that this Wednesday contest concludes with an extra session.
Well, JC and I will give our voices a quick 4-minute break before he and I come back with the call of overtime number 1. Golden goal rule in effect. First goal wins it. 2 10-minute overtime periods, the first of which will be on the other side of this break. You are watching NCAA Division II men's soccer coverage here on the ECC Network. College of Staten Island and Felician University heading to overtime. And we're back here on the ECC Network. Joe Foreman rejoining you alongside John Carl Ziegler. And JC, we have overtime number 1 coming up here from Dolphin Soccer Park. I have not sat down since the halftime break. It's been that kind of game.
It's been that kind of game. I've been up, I've been down. I've been up, I've been down. I can't decide what to do. The play has just been great all around. We've seen a little bit of everything. We're a minute away from overtime. I was just looking over the stat sheet just now. We're talking about 24 fouls combined in the second half versus the 12 that we saw in the first half. The majority of the fouls going to CSI as they kind of lost their composure as time progressed in that second half.
Yeah, and we saw both teams committing a lot of fouls in very difficult spots. And for the Dolphins, their foul tally increasing to 19. And during the first half, the Dolphins committed 8. So there were an uptick in fouls for the College of Staten Island with 11 in half number 2. But for the Golden Falcons in the first half, they committed, I had the foul tally
7?
and disappeared. There it is, 7 fouls committed by the Golden Falcons, 5 by Staten Island in the first half. So I had that number backwards, but the foul tally now exceeding 20 between the two teams.
And you know what? Now that we're entering the extra session, in the first half, CSI looked like the team that was on their way to a 3-game winning streak. In the second half, the roles reversed. What are we going to see in overtime? I'm itching to find out. I know you are because you're still standing.
No doubt about that, JC, as our PA announcer John gives the Dolphins an emphatic welcome back onto the pitch, and he is joined by the applause of the Dolphins faithful still assembled, and let's get a listen. Not quite as emphatic as the first time.
Well, nonetheless, we do have some Dolphin personnel down below encouraging the fans to do the wave. And that's when you know things are getting serious, because once they break out the wave, you know that we're in the stretch run and we are in overtime.
Well, I'll tell you right now, JC, the wave would be a first. I have not seen the wave break out at a soccer match, that's for sure. And I'm not sure I've seen it at a basketball game either. So the wave would definitely be a first-time viewing for me here at the College of Staten Island.
Well, let's see if they can muster that golden goal.
Overtime is underway, 10 minutes on the clock, golden goal rule. Both teams looking for their third consecutive win. The Golden Falcons looking to avenge a defeat at the hands of CSI 2 years ago on October 30th, 2019. That was a 2-1 Dolphins victory. CSI with a game-winning goal in the final seconds of that match.
October 30th. That was my birthday. And it still is.
A great day. A great day, and it still is.
I'm a big fan of orange and black for good reason.
We will have broadcasts on the 30th, so you'll have to tune in on tape delay, JC.
I most definitely will.
I know you can't accumulate your game notes without tuning into the previous broadcast. That is must-see viewing for any commentator of our future matches.
Indeed.
As the Dolphins work just beyond midfield into the attacking third with the pass to Siegel. Here comes Daniel Angulo. Angulo out toward the far sideline, and tough to see, but I think that's Codicelli working along the far sideline.
We'll see how both teams come out here. If one team is more aggressive than the other, are we going to see more of a chess matchup in the first 10 minutes? Always interesting how these 10-minute overtime sessions progress and what type of style each team plays.
Angulo is tackled to the ground, and we're headed the other way, so they'll say Angulo did the tackling, and my mistake is, no, I was correct initially. All right, it is a free kick for the Golden Falcons, as that was quite the tie-up down there in the corner.
It certainly was, and, like we said earlier, it was a very chippy second half, and, both teams no strangers to tying up after the first half ended.
I said it before, and I'll say it again. In 2 overtime matches this year, the Dolphins have sent their fans home happy, and we have not been denied a golden goal yet in our 2 overtime matches to this point. This is number 3.
We have a bit of a collision over there on the far sideline.
2 players going down. One was Shane Siegel. He is to his feet quickly for Staten Island, and I believe the second was either number 26 or number 28. 26 would be Christian Mayorga. 28 would be Real Nix.
Would not surprise me if Shane Siegel would score his 3rd goal of the season. He leads the team with 2 as he searches for the golden goal as well.
Rofail sends one into the box, and there's Vogel again heading it up in the air, but Angulo is able to put a shot on goal, our first of the overtime periods.
Hard to see right there if Hernandez was just taking his time making the save and getting up slowly on purpose, or if he's still nursing a sore left shoulder.
Ball across the midfield stripe, sent back the other way by Leandro Angulo. Headed up in the air by Espuru. Now Peterson sent it toward Navarro, and Peterson played him toward the sideline. Navarro wanted that one in towards the middle of the pitch instead. Vogel to throw. That throw off the head of Navarro. Peterson chasing it as Daniel Angulo took a nasty shot there. Fortunately, it looked like he took that shot to the ear, as attempting to head that one toward the midfield circle was Tehran, and Angulo appears okay after the whistle was blown. Play stopped for just a moment.
Now, Peterson's our breakaway man, correct?
He is.
He most certainly is. He got a little extra skip in his step as overtime has started. I noticed that right away, and he he is my potential pick, is my pick for CSI to end this game.
Well, he is a pair of fresh legs. He might get a chance here, but that ball is too long, and I said it before, JC, if the Dolphins did allow an equalizer, which they ultimately did, they would really regret those missed chances that Peterson had in front and some of those opportunities in the first half that came oh so close to finding the back of the net. And if the Dolphins aren't able to come away with a victory in this game, this is going to be a tough loss.
A tough loss and a tough tie also, but definitely you'll take the tie, obviously, versus a loss. But like you said, squandering so many opportunities, just a real dejected group.
Well, we didn't talk about the possibility of both teams extending an unbeaten streak in the case of a tie, as Peterson is fouled and goes down. And if you're a fan of the Dolphins, you don't want to see JC's pick for a potential golden goal scorer lying on his back, and Peterson is back to his feet.
Fastest man on the field, recovers quickly, and he's back to his post.
Karolu takes the free kick and sends it back to Sawchek. Sawchek right into the center of the midfield circle for Rofel. Rofel moving forward, picking up some speed, looking for Siegel, and he is well offsides. That wasn't all too close.
No. Unlike the one we saw about 10, 15 minutes ago, this one was not even close.
We are awaiting a free kick to be taken by the Golden Falcons.
Fast-moving first overtime session. We're down to 5 minutes.
Felician taking their time as Martin Castedo sends it a long way across midfield. Only a couple of Golden Falcons in the area. That is Mayorga working against Rofel, and Rofel is able to get rid of it for Navarro. Navarro into the center of the pitch. Switches play toward the far sideline. It's intercepted by Anthony Mayorga. Mayorga finds Juarez. Juarez chips it up in the air, working against, I believe that is Maikut there. So the Dolphins did make some changes ahead of the overtime. Make it Rofel.
Yeah, trying to put out the best group of players to potentially score that golden goal.
Here comes Karolu. As the Dolphins bench starts to make some noise, Karolu into the attacking third, finds Navarro, back to Karolu. Karolu into the box. He goes down, and that's a good defensive play there by Kevin Chavez.
Yeah, Chavez probably one of the better defensive plays that we've seen from the Golden Falcons this afternoon.
That ball in the midfield once again.
Of course, number one with a bullet belongs to the real godsend of this team that happened earlier in the first half.
Chavez,
the captain, Michael Vogel,
appeared to lose his footing there, and that stymied that attacking play very quickly, as we are going to have a throw-in along the near sideline, and Karolu jogs over to take it.
Yeah, Michael Vogel, 2 plays. He saved the goal, and he saved the potential break inside the box.
This is Diggs over the ball for Staten Island. Now Rofel. Rofel for Peterson. Peterson giving chase, and he was all over
That
Vogel.
might be a card. Play is stopped. I mean, he just undressed him there.
He sure did. And will he be shown the yellow? It looks that way, and he will. So Peterson receives the yellow card, and I'm not sure how he thought he was going to get away with that, JC.
You know, it's one of those things where, you know, it's been a frustrating afternoon after such a remarkable first half. You can't let your emotions get the best of you, especially in the latter stages of these games. Yes, the game is tied. Yes, you know, you'll take a tie over a loss, but you know what? Stay composed. Your opportunities will come.
Potentially an opportunity for Felician here, but Shane Siegel makes sure that doesn't happen right away as he heads that one out of danger on the attempted pass for Mayorga, and the ball rolls over the far sideline for a Dolphins throw with 2:45 on the clock.
Shots on goal, 13-3, but Felician with the better of play in the last 55 minutes or so.
And that's really surprising considering what we saw in the first half.
Well, whatever that pep talk, however quiet, loud, short, or long it was, worked.
The halftime adjustments certainly seemed to pay off for Felician as they were really able to control possession far more effectively in half number 2 than in half number 1. Dolphins controlled the ball for most of the first half as Karolu moves in here looking for Diggs, and that one is intercepted by Aspuru. Sawchek waiting for it, though, at midfield. Sends it a long way. Siegel the closest Dolphin, but Hernandez the first to it.
Hernandez looking fine to me right about now. The shoulder flexing has stopped. He looks like he's 100%. Probably put an ice bag on it after the game. And you know what? I think he'll trade the win for the ice bag, that's for sure.
And that is good news for the Golden Falcons that he is okay. As the Dolphins move forward, Diggs in position, got a toe on it. but that was not enough to receive the pass cleanly. And who's there once again, JC? Michael Vogel.
Yes, 3 stops now. 3 stops, 1 stop, a goal, and 2 scoring opportunities.
This is Rofael looking to continue the Dolphins' attacking play. He is dispossessed. That one is sent up towards Abayan. Abayan working against Sawchek, and he will take that throw in quickly. Here comes Mayorga. Mayorga sent it to the top of the box where Tehran attempted a heel kick pass back to Mayorga, and that one proving unsuccessful as the Dolphins take possession and cross midfield with it. Peterson averts the challenge there and allows his team to take possession back in the midfield with 35 seconds remaining in the first overtime.
If you're looking for player of the game, flip a coin, Hernandez or Vogel.
Peterson is dispossessed for a moment. The ball is sent up in the air. Batson and Keralou waiting for it. Here comes Batson. Batson unable to get by Leandro Angulo, and he has been rock solid for the Dolphins in the back all season long. Comes up with a big tackle there as we appear headed for a second overtime. The Dolphins content to let the clock run out, and the first of 2 10-minute overtime periods comes to an end. Our score remains even at 1. We will take a break for a minute or two, and when JC and I come back, overtime number 2 here on the ECC Network, NCAA Division II Men's Soccer, College of Staten Island and Felician University headed to the second overtime. And we're back here on the ECC Network. Once again, Joe Foreman and John Carl Ziegler joining you from the press box atop Dolphin Soccer Park. Overtime number 2 about to get underway between the College of Staten Island and Felician University. These two teams knotted up at 1. This match was a tale of 2 halves, JC.
You know, I just want to say first off, I've never been a fan of shootouts, but in this case, if this remains a tie after the second overtime sessions, it would only be fitting. We've seen everything else. Why not a shootout? Although they don't have shootouts.
Not at the college level, they do not, as if this game remains tied at 1 through the end of this second overtime period of 10 minutes in length, we will end in a tie. And during the pregame, JC, we hyped up both teams with an opportunity to pick up their third win. Might be a bit of a letdown if we end in a tie.
Yeah, hence my desire for a shootout, but I guess, you can't always get what you want. But the first overtime session, very evenly matched, but like you alluded to, a tale of 2 halves. It was CSI controlling the entire first half, and it was the exact antithesis of that in the second.
It sure was. As at the halftime break, you and I both thought the College of Staten Island deserving of a lead that exceeded just a single goal. They go into the break leading 1-0. Then in the second half, Felician University coming out strong, getting on the board in the 69th minute, and they had some more chances from there. The Dolphins, with a trio of breakaway opportunities in that second half, failed to score. They're certainly regretting that right now, but still a chance for the Dolphins to leave with a victory this afternoon. They have 10 minutes to register a golden goal.
When you leave that many opportunities on the table, it's hard not to get down on your dauber, to be dejected. And their play in the second half was indicative of that. And that's what allowed the Golden Falcons to seize the momentum and get that tying goal.
It will be Felician to possess it first in the second overtime. 10 minutes on the clock. Both of these teams looking for their third straight victory. It is possible they both remain unbeaten through 3 consecutive games, but we will see if a golden goal is scored as the clock begins to run and the second overtime is underway. Golden Falcons attacking right to left. The Dolphins will attack left to right in the second overtime as Mayorga crosses midfield with it, moving into the attacking third. Finds Batson. Batson working toward the center of the pitch, looking for Nix with that ball. And the Dolphins do take possession for just a moment, but Batson has it right back. And he takes a hard challenge from Angulo, no whistle. And once again, Leandro Angulo with a great challenge.
Yeah, referee's letting them play.
Here comes Nix, and he takes a tumble over Sissoko. And the official having a word with Nix. Bugari unfazed coming out of net.
You can tell these players want it. They know what's at stake, a potential third consecutive win, and both teams playing very, very good soccer the last couple of weeks.
And I'm not sure there are many players out there on the pitch who would get the better of a collision with Sissoko, as he was all over that ball, and Nix went soaring through the air.
Yeah, especially with a good running start, all 6'3" of him, bearing down on you.
I wouldn't want to be the one sent up into the air trying to get to that ball first, and that was the unfortunate position Nix found himself in, as right now the two teams exchanging possessions in the midfield. It will be the Golden Falcons to throw along the far sideline. 8:30 on the clock in the second overtime, as Mayorga tried to get a bit flashy with it on the heel kick, and he sends it right over to Leandro Angulo, who sent it up in the air across midfield. Daniel Angulo has it on the body. Now Navarro.
The Golden Falcons looking for the golden goal. CSI does not like that play on words.
Certainly would not like that, as there would be a lot of upset spectators here as well if that was to play out. Here comes Gonzaga getting his first run since very early in this match. He got the start. We haven't seen him in quite some time, but the Dolphins getting another pair of fresh legs out there on the pitch.
I haven't heard his name in quite a bit. It's good to see him out there, though.
Fresh legs almost paying off as Gonzaga got ahead of that back line of Felician, but unable to get a foot on that ball.
Yeah, once the substitution started coming in for the Golden Falcons, towards the end of the first half and into the second, a drastic change in play.
Here comes Batson crossing one toward the far post, and Keralou was in perfect position. He had Nix looming over his shoulder.
Ooh, that could have been the golden goal right there. Some good defense in front. Too close for cover.
And there's another shot from in close by the Golden Falcons, as that one is saved by Sissoko. And charging in there was Abayan, and he made a bid for that golden goal. And there's some Felician University supporters gathered to our left who made some noise with that shot.
Most definitely, despite it only being their fourth shot on goal as we are in the second overtime session. That fourth shot, it really doesn't matter at this point whether you have one shot, 4 shots, 10 shots. The next one they score will be the winner.
Navarro working hard against Suarez there. He tries to take the free kick quickly. The official will not allow it. He wants to move Angulo back, and the clock is stopped as the official will say the foul occurred closer to midfield. And with 6:33 to play, free kick for the Dolphins as Angulo is moved back yet again.
Yeah, a very irate group of Dolphins. You don't hear that term very often. They're normally very friendly creatures. But in this case, the male Dolphins here of the College of Staten Island not happy with the ball placement.
I think any marine mammal that allows a human being to ride on its back would be considered friendly, as that one is chipped up in the air by the Golden Falcons, headed toward Angulo by Cotticelli. Angulo comes away with possession, looking for Peterson on the through ball. It winds up with Navarro instead. Now back with Angulo. Angulo moving toward the touchline, working against a pair of Golden Falcons. He cannot send it off of a marker, and instead the ball travels out toward midfield, where Leandro Angulo makes a great play to keep possession with CSI. This is Gonzaga for Rofael. Rofael back to Gonzaga. He has some room. Gonzaga's shot is off of the crossbar just high, as I think Hernandez may have gotten a hand on it. He did, and he sent it off of the crossbar and over the frame.
It seems like whenever Hernandez makes a save, it's the new save of the game. And he just continues to make great saves in this contest. CSI out shooting their opposition, I think 14-4, might be 15-4 now. But let me tell you, Hernandez, despite the injury, he has been at the top of his game this afternoon.
What a match this has been, and we still have 5 minutes to go as Samuel Gonzaga put one on goal, and now a corner kick is taken, and it is headed straight up into the air and out of play once again by Felician.
And I said many moons ago, how fitting would it be if this game ended on a corner?
Another corner kick taken toward the far post, punched out of the air by Hernandez and cleared over the far sideline by the Golden Falcons. So the Dolphins will throw in.
Speaking of corners, scoreboard reads 11-1. Is that accurate?
I will double check, as my live stats have been shut down for one reason or another. Either way, I'll get that tally for you in just a moment, JC. And
in the event that is true, the one lone corner kick yielded possibly the best scoring chance for Felician University.
Corner kick tally upcoming in just a moment as we await a throw-in for the Dolphins. Corners 13-1.
13-1.
So an even greater disparity than what is reflected on the scoreboard, as Gonzaga really showing the benefit of a player who's well-rested coming out onto the pitch. He has been impactful so far here in this overtime.
Well, here comes number, 14 now?
This would be 14, and Angulo to take it. Corner kick on its way. Center of the box, headed away by Felician University. Sawcheck giving chase, but it's Batson who is first to it. Batson for Knicks. Odd man rush. Here come the Golden Falcons. Abayan is met by Codicelli in the back. What a recovery by the Dolphins defensively.
Most definitely. And despite that glorious opportunity, CSI starting to turn the play.
Gonzaga for Peterson. And Peterson's shot is nowhere close. As Rofale wanted that ball, he did not get it.
Yeah, they're turning the tide right now. You talk about some great scoring opportunities. What I was trying to say, this is the best we've seen this club since the conclusion of the first half.
Well, it is apparent neither of these teams wants to leave Dolphin Soccer Park with a tie on their record following this match.
We know how I feel about ties.
I'm not a fan myself, but we still have 2:48 to find a golden goal, but time running out in this one, and the two teams are fighting for possession in the midfield.
I enjoy wearing them. That's about it.
Carolou comes away with it. He has Navarro. Navarro working against the marker, moves into the center of the pitch, fires a shot high and wide with the left foot.
Scoring opportunities plentiful for the CSI Dolphins in the last 5 minutes, but pretty much the entire second overtime period.
We talked about how entertaining the first two halves of play were. What about these overtime periods?
The first overtime was a little bit of a lull, a little bit of a feeling out process. The second overtime, worlds different. Different world altogether.
What a match this has been from Dolphin Soccer Park. We still have 2 minutes to play. Both teams looking for a golden goal and their third straight win. Navarro for Angulo. Angulo looking to work toward the center of the pitch. He is going to commit the foul as that ball trickled away from him.
You know, based on some of the yellow cards we've seen earlier this afternoon, that looked like one to me.
Awfully close as Nix moves in against Angulo. He was looking for Mayorga on that pass, but the Dolphins are all over it. This is Gonzaga along the far sideline, working against Vogel. Gonzaga is likely whistled. No, it is Vogel who is whistled for the foul. Wow. And the clock is stopped.
A surprising turn of events there. I thought it would be the other way around, and CSI is going to have another opportunity to put this on ice.
Well, that is a monumental call, as this gives the Dolphins a free kick opportunity deep in the attacking third.
And we've seen a lot of these in the second half by the opposition.
And that was a big part of the reason the Golden Falcons found their way back into the game and ultimately tied. As Rofale lined up over the ball, his free kick sent toward the middle of the box, and Hernandez is there to grab it out of the air once again.
He's been Johnny on the spot all day.
Speaking of shorthanded, as we did earlier in the match, Hernandez has not made a mistake with the ball yet. 1 minute to play in the second overtime. Here comes Rofale. That isn't Rofale along the far sideline. That's Maikut along the far sideline. Rofale in the middle of the pitch. As I continue to confuse those two. This is Peterson. Peterson for Navarro. Navarro toward the far post, but that ball's too long.
Yeah, a bit of a Hail Mary type shot there. Went well wide.
And that may be the last opportunity for either side in this one. 30 seconds on the clock. We'll see if Felician tries to manufacture one more chance. Free kick taken at 21 seconds. It's headed up in the air at midfield. Ball moving in the direction of the Golden Falcons. Now with the Dolphins, 12 seconds on the clock. That one sent up toward Gonzaga, headed toward Peterson, but Peterson slowed down, and I'm not sure it would have mattered anyway, as Hernandez was the first to it. And JC, neither team will pick up their third straight victory here today. This one ends in a tie, double overtime.
It appears we're going to have to start some new streaks moving forward. Although the undefeated streak stays intact, If you want to look at some positives here, first half was all CSI. They looked great in the second overtime. And if we take a look in the last 6 games, today included, they've only surrendered 4 goals.
Well, you have to like what you've seen from this Dolphins team defensively in the first half of this game. They also did a great job controlling possession, but credit to Felician University. The adjustments they made at the halftime break allowed them to really level out the possession a bit in the second half. They earned themselves many free kicks, the foul calls really piling up in half number 2, and ultimately the Golden Falcons do get even in the second half in the 69th minute, and our score would remain tied through the remainder of this match, 1-1 our final.
When you think about this from the perspective of the Golden Falcons, you were the road team. You gave up the first goal. You gave up 3 breakaways. 2 posts were hit against you. You're thinking to yourself, oh man, what did we lose by? 3, 4, 5? No, you came away with a 1-1 tie. They can build on this, and now they're 2-0-1 in their last 3.
Certainly a match to build upon for Felician University and for the College of Staten Island. This is a match that they'll probably look back at with some mixed feelings. You mentioned how this game could have easily been a multiple-goal Dolphin lead in the first half, but all that matters is the tally up on the scoreboard, 1-1 our final. The Dolphins will certainly lament many of those chances they had that ultimately did not find the back of the net. You mentioned a couple of crossbars, a post, a pair of breakaways in the second half for CSI as well. Unfortunately, none of those amounting to a goal. They will settle for 1, will settle for the tie. And for men's soccer, taking a look on the upcoming schedule, they will next have a conference match against ECC foe St. Thomas Aquinas. So a conference matchup up next to the College of Staten Island. We do not see them here again for another 2 weeks.
Anytime you have a conference opponent on the docket and your previous game wasn't exactly what you wanted, you didn't get the end result, you have to have a short memory. Put this in the memory bank. Don't think about it too much. And then just show up to work starting tomorrow in anticipation for that conference game. And, pick up where you left off. I mean, with the exception of large portions of the second half, it was a complete game by these Dolphins. But there were periods in that second half, maybe about 3/4 of it, to be fair, where they didn't look like themselves.
Well, I think a big takeaway for us and any of our viewers watching at home, this is why you have to tune in to our CSI Sportsnet broadcasts here on the ECC Network. That was one of the most entertaining matches I've ever called. And JC, it was great to share the call with you, as I want to give you credit for another job well done as we sign off. And we have Gabriella Bartley stationed on top of the press box as well. I want to give her a shout-out. She was our camera operator in this game. Joe Masher providing official stats. Of course, we have John Papaneer on public address and Christina Silverizzo operating the scoreboard. Credit to our entire crew here this afternoon at the College of Staten Island. But until next time, once again, we thank you for watching. Our final score in this match, 1-1, the College of Staten Island and Felician University play to a tie. Our next broadcast will be 1 week from tomorrow as women's soccer takes on East Stroudsburg next Thursday at 4 p.m. If you can't attend the game, be sure to join us here on the ECC Network for that broadcast and enjoy the rest of your week.